Hello, folks, and welcome back to the Braai Brus right here on the Adopt Africa channel. This is Chris with my co-host Byron Shepard, located somewhere deep in the mist of the Eastern Cape or Gauteng or Mpumalanga or Northern Cape or I don't know. He's out there somewhere in that mystical land called South Africa. Hey, Byron, how's it going?
Not too bad. You're joining on to Ramon's jokes now. That poor joke about where do I actually live? I live in Quebec.
Well,
also known as Port Elizabeth.
I don't like to dox people.
That's all right. You'll never find me anywhere. I mean, it's fucking Quebec. Who comes here?
Well, I'll be there in a few weeks.
You will be, and you'll also be coming to my pub. So for those of you who don't know, I actually have a pub in Port Elizabeth called Sergeant Pepper's in Kabika Park. So if you ever want to come shout at me and tell me how rubbish Morning Shot is, you know exactly where to find me.
Well, if you like, we can do a back-to-back meet and greet. Ronaldo's organizing one on the Thursday. Maybe we could do a meet and greet for lunch or something that day.
Nah, I need to talk to intelligent people.
Ooh, I didn't mean with Ronaldo. I meant with me and my viewers. Ow, there's a slam. There goes the audience. We dropped down to 2 viewers. Oh, my goodness. Sorry, just getting all choked up here. So, look, before we really get into this, I suppose I would presume that you're not that busy, that you've actually caught the news in the last hour. The Court has ruled that the Supreme Court of Appeals.
Yes, I've seen it.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
Jay-Z must go back to prison. Get your body armor out.
Peaceful protest loading, my friends. Peaceful protest loading.
Get ready for it. I presume he's going to have to go back to the escort facility, the Gucci new prison, but we'll see what happens.
I believe that his last cell basically had like TVs and a bar and a running machine and a jacuzzi. You know, the simple stuff you get when you're an ANZ cadre. So yeah, I don't see why it would be any different this time.
I understand that if he had been in the escort facility long enough, he was going to have the reed dance performed for him while he was there with young maidens.
You know what? I actually, to be honest with you, I actually feel sorry for Jacob Zuma in a way. I really do.
Well,
I feel sorry for him because he's done what every other ANC guy does.
And he's the one that gets fingered.
And he's the one that gets fingered. It's a bit like Paul Mashatile. We did a video on him going like, guys, why are we doing a psyops on this guy? And everyone's like, but he did this and he did that. And you're like, yeah, but they all did that. Like, how's this any different? It's just another day in the ANC. Like, so why are we making an example out of him? It's like, it's a psyop, guys. It's a psyop.
Well, the reason they make an example of Jay-Z, there's a lot of reasons, but one of them is because he stuck his finger in their eye and he pissed the wrong people off when he got up and walked out of the hearing in late in the year, in like November, whenever it was. That was contempt of court, and they didn't make a contempt of court ruling on him. And then he just got cheeky. I can get away with anything. So he just failed to show up for the Zondo Commission, and that was the poke in the eye, one time too many.
But then, to a large degree, he exposed the pointlessness of the Zondo Committee, because what we've seen is that Zondo obviously came out with its recommendations, none of which have actually been adopted. In fact, when they pressed Parliament and they said, guys, why aren't you adopting any of Zondo's recommendations? They said, yeah, but it was all kind of voluntary anyway, wasn't it? So it was just like, some documents telling us some nonsense, so who cares? And Jay-Z exposed that. So, again, why are we arresting him? He actually hasn't done anything that no one else hasn't already done.
Yeah, it's a fair point. It's a fair point. I have no sympathy for him because he's an arrogant asshat, and therefore I have very little sympathy for him. But like many politicians, he thinks that his poo doesn't smell, and this is how it goes. But I'd like to see the comeuppance of a lot of other politicians and start right on this side of the Atlantic. I've got a number of them sitting in D.C. I'd like to get started with. It's reprobates. They are there for self-aggrandizement, self-enrichment, fame, fortune, and not for service to the country, which is what the role is supposed to be. Now, in our system,
I don't believe you.
Oh, well,
I don't believe you.
A lot of people don't believe
your politicians. I'm not naming anybody, but your politicians are there for the coke and hookers, my friend. Coke and hookers.
So, listen, it gives a whole new meaning to the term White House. We
all know about the powder that was found in the was it West Wing? Because originally they said it was the East Wing. It turned out the West Wing.
Look, I don't know what the story is. It keeps changing, but I can tell you this: it was inexplicable to me that the Secret Service found a strange white substance which they couldn't identify. I'm like, Hunter is at the White House all the time. Just call him over. Oh, yeah, it's the good stuff, man. He could have identified it on the spot.
They could have been like, Hunter, what's this? And he's like, I don't know, man. It's not mine. I've never seen that before.
No, that's top grade Colombian, man. No, it's not that stuff from Venezuela.
Yeah, that's not mine. That's cheap. I don't smoke that stuff.
It's not my stash, man. I keep it in the Corvette. Oh, my goodness. Really,
Your politics
really
is screwed, man.
Oh, yeah, you're telling me. You're telling me. Yesterday, Christopher Wray, the director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, or as I prefer to call them affectionately, the Federal Bureau of Incompetence, yesterday testified and didn't answer questions and ignored things. And then, of course, some of the Republicans were a little over the top, and it was less questioning and more of their testimony on their part, and they're supposed to be asking questions. But every one of the Democrats was an absolute embarrassment and joke. Just nothing but complete party loyalty and anything to attack. I mean, Donald Trump was not part of the conversation, yet every Democrat brought up, except for Hank Johnson, brought up Donald Trump. And why are you people so demonically possessed? This is about the FBI illegally violating the Constitution, spying on Americans without a warrant, violating the Fourth Amendment, unreasonable search and seizure, and doing it probably over 1 million times in the past year. Mm-hmm. This is insane. And then response from the media and from some of the Democrats like, well, the Republicans, all they seem to care about is private citizens' privacy. Yeah, because that's what our basic law says. That is like the most egregious violation of our law. And no one's upset about this except me.
Well, I don't know why you're upset, because this is the same country that assassinated one of its own presidents. Huh? Because he dared to challenge the military-industrial complex. Allegedly. Are you
talking about Kennedy?
Never. That's a conspiracy, and if you think otherwise, you're a conspiracy nut.
He was rubbed out by the mob. That's what happened to him. Yeah, he was. He didn't do what the mob told him to do, and he owed his presidency.
You know what I did?
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever watched it, but we did an awesome interview with Doug Wilson, Pastor Doug Wilson. It was great.
I don't know who that is.
He says he's one of your
is he evangelical?
More outspoken evangelicals, Baptist.
Okay.
In Moscow, somewhere there in the US. So anyway, if you haven't seen it, he's the guy who founded Canon Press, which is one of the largest publications of Christian material. And he says, many moons ago when countries went tyrannical, it was like, it was fun. We just go west. You'll be fine.
You're out of west. There's no west left.
Like he's out of. That's exactly what he said. He said, "You're out of west. Like there's nowhere to go now." He's like, so you have to stand and fight. You have to keep the idea of the home of the free, land of the brave alive, because the minute you're no longer free and brave, you're back in chains, my friend. And it's the human condition to go back in chains. And unfortunately, the White House seems to be hard at work and bringing back the chains. Huh?
No, they absolutely are. And it's not just that. On my radio program last night, we talked about a number of things, and of course, beating up on California. But I just made things more poignantly obvious to my co-host. I said, we do that, but we're responsible too. I mean, look, my state sent John Fetterman to the Senate for 6 years. John Fetterman shouldn't be sent to the toilet for 6 minutes alone, let alone to the U.S. Senate for 6 years. I mean, come on.
I love John Fetterman. He's the best example of American politics. You've got a Republican or a guy who literally can't say a sentence because he had a stroke. Yeah. So choose. Who do you want? Republican or the stroke victim? I will have the stroke victim, please.
Yeah, and that's just the most obvious thing. I mean, never mind the fact he's a race hustler. He shot at a young black man who was jogging on the street because he assumed because he was black he was robbing his house when he was mayor. Yeah, exactly.
Remember, allegedly.
Well, he was allegedly black, apparently. Yeah, but no, the guy is just and he spent in his time as lieutenant governor when they carried him up to the state house here in Harrisburg, he spent 3/4 of his time not reporting for work. His time he was lieutenant governor, just didn't come into the office. Now so we can't just blame California, but California is a pretty poignant example. I mean, this is a state where they have lowered from a serious felony to just a misdemeanor things like attempted murder conspiracy, rape. That's not a felony under certain circumstances. There are certain mitigating circumstances means rape is not a felony. It's a misdemeanor. And then, of course, this all came to people's attention once again because State Bill 56 back in 2016 lowered the criminalization, and including things like intentionally infecting someone with HIV went from a felony to a misdemeanor, destroying their lives. These people are crazy. Now they're a state where they've already been a sanctuary state for criminal alien invaders. Now they're a sanctuary state for minor children who run away from home, and then they abrogate parental rights by any kid coming from any country to California. They'll protect them so that they can have their genitalia lopped off and be pumped up with drugs because their parents don't know better. This is a state full of lunatics and wackadoodles, and it's an embarrassment to the world, not just to America, in my view.
I would agree with everything you said there.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'd agree with everything you said there.
Yeah, it's tough to refute
However,
that. Here it comes.
One of the things I would say is obviously when you look at California these days, you see California, the home of Hollywood. Many times Hollywood used to do the Westerns in the 50s. The big thing to obviously direct was Westerns. How cool were they? And in modern times, they've given you great things like The Purge. You know, that sycophants like horror thriller where you basically get 1 day a year to do whatever you want, you know, The Purge. And unfortunately, politicians in California appear to be unable to distinguish between real life and movies. And so what they've done is they've based their legal framework around The Purge. So it does appear now that in California that they've reignited the old cowboy type scene of the lone gunman and, hey, you can do anything you want. You want to steal? Steal. Want to rape and pillage? Yeah, you can do that too. And land of the free, eh? Do whatever you want. You want to lock up a criminal. That's like fascist. You can't do that. But no. What, you want to stop a shoplifter from thieving? What are you, racist?
Yes.
Apparently. What a great state. What a great state.
Yeah, no, the list of just egregious decisions and ideas and wackadoodle things coming out of there is just, it's off the charts. But, it's California was the golden land, hence the name, the Golden State, the Bear Republic. From 1850 until 1985, maybe 89, that was a state that grew. People flocked there. It was a wonderful place. Obviously, every place has problems. There's misery. There's all kinds. But the point is, in the general sense, it was a great place economically, socially, culturally. It was a leader in the world in technology, in the film industry, in so many different ways. And then people took their eye off the ball and they let these idiots get into office, and look what we've got now. And now we've got that happening all over the country. It's bat crap crazy. At least in South Africa, you don't have an excuse. I mean, you had something foisted on you by the National Party and the CODESA the convention betraying South Africans with a bizarre political system in which voters don't even get to vote for members of parliament. That's not your fault. That's the elites who did that to you.
Yeah, so why don't we actually talk about South Africa? And let's actually talk about something that, as we're talking about South Africa, let's talk about a topic, an interesting topic.
Which one?
South African royalty.
Okay, you mean like in royal families, like the Zulu royal family and so on?
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly it. Let's do a compare and contrast. British monarchy versus South African monarchy. Okay. Number one, how do we refer to the princes in the UK? Prince Harry?
Yeah.
Prince William? You know how we refer to them here in South Africa? Just that bloke over there. Like, we don't seem to give two shits about royal monarchy here. Like, it's really weird, man. So, like, we interviewed the crown prince of the Pedi people. His people basically lay claim to Northern Free State and Limpopo. And they've been there for like 2,000 years. Like, the guy's great. Like, so great. So great. And but we saw an interview. He actually got interviewed on SABC. And like, the guys were so disrespectful to him. They just like, because he's actually an expert in energy. He's dedicated his entire life to like coal, because a lot of the coal mines are around on his land. So he knows the coal industry very well, and he knows where all the coal's going because it's on his land. So we did this big ass interview on him, and SABC picked up an interview with him, and they basically refer to him. They go, we got energy expert Adil here with us. You're like, dude, that's the fucking crown prince. Be polite. What the hell are you doing? Like, and they're like, oh yeah, what do you think? What's your opinion, Adil? It's like, dude, that's the royal household. Be respectful. It's amazing that in South Africa, the understanding of our own royal lineage here is just non-existent. It's really non-existent. And how people engage with our own royal monarch is terrible, man. It's like, but it's for me a great shame that apartheid actually didn't allow the population as a large to get to know their own kings and queens. It's like we still have this like feudal dedication to the kings and queens of the past, if you know what I mean. Like, Queen of England, like, cool, man, she's cool. But the Zulu monarch in Durban, what did they do? They got like more power than the actual parliament, right? Like the Zulu monarch in Durban, or in KZN, actually has a shit ton of power. But like, no, we don't know who they are. We don't know what a royal household looks like. We don't know how to dress them. And I think there's a real shame in that. What's your view?
Well, we know what a drain they are on the taxpayer and how much money goes to these exceedingly large royal families for all these different groups. I don't hold much regard for royalty, whether it's from Prussia, Denmark, Sweden, Norway, United Kingdom, South Africa, Swaziland. Not much regard for it. I have no animosity towards them. I don't find them all that interesting, and I don't see their utility. When people attack the monarchy in the UK, I'm definitely not a fan of that monarchy, but I tell people that's the British tradition. That's the system they have. Relax. The British royalty have no real political power, so I don't know what you're upset about. Oh, but they cost taxpayers so much money. No, they're incredibly wealthy because they conquered the world and amassed resources for 5-6 centuries. So relax. The royalty does nothing for me. It's amazing the fascination people have with it, particularly in the UK. But even here in America, people gravitate towards celebrity, and that's just fake celebrity to me. The fact that that somebody knocked boots and an egg was fertilized and you popped out 9 months later doesn't make you any better than anyone else. As I've always said, we're all human beings endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights, and yes, I'm plagiarizing that from our Declaration of Independence, but it's true, and nobody's better than anyone else. We all come into this world in the same way, unless you happen to come in by C-section, and we all go out the same way at some point. So, I don't cotton that Bill Gates is any brighter or better than I am. He's just very clever and was born into wealth and made good advantage of it, as did Elon Musk. He took good advantage of the opportunities given him, and he became exceedingly successful. But royalty, no, not impressed. When they do something for the public, yeah, okay. Back before he was a pedo, Prince Andrew, was doing great stuff in uniform as a helicopter pilot, but he kind of tarnished all that by chasing little girls on Epstein Island.
So you would have noticed I took a grenade and threw it over there at the American and asked him what he thinks about monarchy.
We made our feelings clear on monarchy on the 4th of July, 1776, when the usurpations and all these other things from the English king, anyway. So we made it pretty clear about as a nation how we feel about monarchy. But there's actually a movement to make George Washington the king early in our history, and he's like,
there was,
yeah, he's like, no. Did you just miss the last 13 years when we were freezing at Valley Forge? No shoes, ice, people get frostbite just to get independence. We don't want a monarchy. No, I'm not a fan. Were you being facetious about the monarchy, or do you actually find it interesting in South Africa? I wasn't sure. I couldn't read you.
No, I found the South African monarchy really interesting because I know absolutely squat about it. So it is actually really interesting. It's like a curiosity to me, a real big curiosity. I was just like, I don't know anything about these people. So like the more time we spend with them, we talk to them, it's just like, oh, that's really fascinating.
Yeah, it
doesn't mean like I'm obviously going to join the petty people. Like, but it's just interesting.
But not to get away from that, but there's a comment from one of the viewers in the chat I thought I should address real quick, just how sad things are. And I'm not sure if this is because there's none delivered at the station or whatever, but R1 says he's very sad. He was supposed to attend his grandmother's funeral tomorrow and read scripture, but can't go because there's no petrol. I don't know if that's because where he's at, the petrol pumps have run dry, which is entirely possible because at the moment there's just one functioning refinery in South Africa. It's located just north of Cape Town.
It's probably because of load shedding, my friend. So it's obviously during load shedding in some of the remote locations, they can't put the pumps on.
Yeah.
So obviously the petrol comes there, and then they can't obviously.
You would have think that by now they would have set up, suction or hand pumps for these things.
Chris, I have a very big opinion on this, and that I'm still like 2023, my friend, and somebody hasn't sorted out alternative power solutions. We've had load shedding for nearly 10 years, like.
Yeah, but South Africa doesn't need. Well, it's been more than 10 years. Load shedding started back in 2008. We were customers in Botswana, and we paid our bill. Botswana paid Eskom every month on time. and we as customers paid a bunch on it, and they started shutting our power off. I had to spend $50,000 to purchase generators and install them in my staff's, and that was not money, it was budgeted for the year because it just got dumped on us right after I arrived there and right after the fiscal year started. So we had to scramble, and things fell off the table because we didn't have operating money because we had to put generators in. It was dictated by the security officer in the embassy because you have to have lights, otherwise people's homes get broken into. So yeah, no, we've been dealing with this since 2008. It's not 10 years, it's much longer than that. But no, there's no excuse for it. But here's the bottom line. South Africa doesn't need alternative energy. Build freaking coal-fired power plants and deliver actual coal, not painted rocks, to the damn installations, and burn coal, burn, baby, burn.
You and the prince will do just fine. You agree on topics already.
Yeah. So there you go. Burn coal. I'm all for it. Listen, South Africa doesn't have the luxury, can't afford the luxury of, a green energy and green hydrogen. Yeah. Shut up.
You know what they say about the green agenda?
Yeah.
They call it the watermelon agenda. Green on the outside, red on the inside.
Well, it's something, all right. Who is this? Someone just, Bill Stevenson said that royalty, custom, tradition, major tourist attraction. Yeah, no, Bill, I don't disagree. Look, I'm not opposed to the British monarchy. I just don't find it remotely fascinating. I know people go, but yes, I've walked by Windsor Palace and Buckingham Palace, take pictures, like everybody else. But it doesn't enthrall me. I don't get that excited about it. It's just not something for me. Now, here's the thing. Here's the irony. I am descended from every freaking Anglo-Saxon Viking royalty house that you can imagine in England, in Denmark, and even a few in Sweden, going back, over a millennia. It's, Edward Longshanks, my ancestor. William the Conqueror, my 34th great-grandfather. Harold Godwinson, the man he defeated at Hastings, one of my other 34th great-grandfathers. I am descended from a long line of English and Scandinavian royalty, and I don't give a crap because I'm not European. I'm an American, and we have an idea that makes us American. And you know what? That makes us special.
Just to comment quickly.
Yeah.
Slippery pickle.
Yeah.
Good, man. Good to hear that you taking the plunge and put the grid card system on there. It's expensive, but it improves your quality of life, my friend. And yeah, I know exactly how that feels. I think I paid like $350,000 for a solar unit on my house. So mine didn't pay that far different from his as well.
Well, actually, we can talk about solar. I've got an interesting story here. But Radine Scorza said the Romans made an oath before Jupiter in 509 BC that they would never again let king rule Rome. They kept that oath for 400 to 500 years. Well, that's impressive. We've only been around for 247 years, so we got a ways to go. And at the rate we're going, we ain't going to make 250. So it's a little bit scary. But hey, as far as solar, I had a consultant come by here. Someone stopped by the house and asked, we're interested in. I said, well, look, I'm not a big fan of this sort of thing. I'm not going to buy a solar system for a whole lot of reasons, mostly because of the damage it does to the environment and the cost. I never get a return on investment. Why would I do that? Anyway, but I will listen to what you have to say. Well, the state, which of course intrudes into things, created a program because they dictated that the power utilities reduced their carbon output by 2020, so they've already missed it, by 18% over whatever the figure was when they passed this legislation before I came to Pennsylvania. So they have to reduce their carbon by 18%. Well, the only way they can do that is to get people off the grid because the economy is still growing, albeit slowly here, but new factories, new buildings, new commercial, all that sucks power. So you have to generate it. They just shut down 3 Mile Island. That's one of the nuclear power plants we had. So we're burning mostly natural gas, which is not too bad, and coal. So they came up with this program, and what happens is that the government, the federal government, the state government give grants or tax breaks. So the installer company, which manages the system, they get those grants, and then a finance company, which does solar projects, finances the capital, which they use to put the panels on, install the system, put the inverter on there, hook you up to the grid. They do all the work to get the approval from the township, the county, the state, all that stuff. They do all the rebate stuff. You do nothing. I wouldn't buy a system. I would simply have panels installed on my property that would belong to someone else, and I sign a lease contract, and I pay a fixed amount based on an energy per kilowatt hour, which right now
those are actually a big thing now, Gauteng.
Yeah.
But literally, I think there's a company now, Gauteng, is doing it. And that's partly because the Gauteng government is buying back some of the excess electricity. They started doing the same thing in Cape Town, but then Cape Town started coming out with some licensing bullshit. This is actually one of my big beefs with the DA. Yeah, DA governs better, it does everything better, whatever other bullshit slogan they want. But, wherever they come in, they bring in like Democrat type policies. Like, yeah, you must go green, but we're going to tax the living daylights out of you. Like,
So where's the advantage?
so where's the advantage?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you must have better governance so that we can charge you more for your rates and taxes. Like,
Well,
I'll have my potholes, thanks.
What you're talking about, that's actually been going on for several years. There's a company I'm familiar with that I've dealt with called Sun Exchange, based in Cape Town, and it's started by a Brit. And what they do is they crowdfund solar projects, and they started out with schools and retirement homes, and they've done vineyards and vegetable farms and such now. And the Ushaka Mall in Durban is full of solar panels. It's all owned by Sun Exchange. The crowdfunders buy the cells for a fixed price, and then they run everything, and then the people pay them for leasing that energy, and you get money back over a 20-year period. But yeah, that's Sun Exchange. They're not well known, and I've tried to interview them several times, and they're just arrogant little pricks. They just blow me off. So screw them. If they don't want the publicity, they don't want the attention, I guess they can make it on their own. But it's an interesting story, and it's a great way for people who've got resources to help others out and get a return on investment. You know, it's pretty cool. It works. Of course, you have projects that fail. I mean, they've had one of their fruit farms that was in the Western Cape is gone belly up. So now they have to uninstall the solar panels, which is a huge waste of energy and effort. But anyway, it's still a pretty cool concept. So, but anyway, so the ones would come here. I would be on the house, and I would pay a fixed rate, which right now is about 25% lower than what I pay my utility because of their cost. Anyway, so what happens over time is that the state has set the rules so the solar provider can only raise it 2.9% each year, the fee, which they'll do automatically because they can get away with it. But my other provider, my electricity has doubled in price in the last 18 months, and my consumption's gone down by 20%. Yet my bill is more than twice what I was paying 2 years ago, because they have much more flexibility to raise the prices. So anyway, in the long term, you wind up getting a situation where you pay an electric bill to the solar provider, who put the panels on your house, and you pay a nominal fee because you're hooked up to the grid and it feeds it back in the grid. If you accrue enough credits, every year in May, the power utility has to give you a check for all the credits you fed into the grid at the rate that they pay, which is better than if I had my own system. They would only pay me 1/3 of what I pay for. So anyway, that's a long story. But yeah, solar, it has its advantages, but it also has a disadvantage. But when the government gets in and cooks up a scheme.
Solar's great for a house. Solar's great for a house. Not much else.
It can be, yes, it can be. Well, it's not so great for Vodacom headquarters in Century City.
That's what I'm saying. It's great for a house, but not much else.
Oh my
Like your
goodness.
house on solar is fun, man. My house on solar is fun.
Did you see that fire in Century City? My goodness.
This is the problem, man. I mean, all these green things, when they have problems, it's like if you look at the windmills. You ever seen those things on fire, man?
I have. I have. Oh, I've seen them catch fire. It's
Out of
insane.
those things, man. Like, oh.
Yeah, no, the turbines inside those things catch on fire because of poor maintenance and other reasons, and it's horrific. And then the flames work their way around the blades, and they get thrown out into the environment, light trees on fire and houses on fire. It's crazy.
It's horrendous, man.
No,
Go back to the coal power stations.
Yeah, no, those wind turbines, that's a whole scam too. It's the people don't take into account. What irritates me about solar and irritates me about alternative energy, so-called alternative energy, is that people don't take into account the full life cycle of it. But every time that you have a conversation about hydrocarbons, well, they're subsidized by the government. How's that? Because they're not paying the true cost of the damage they do to the environment. Okay, so if we're going to look at the life cycle of exploration and exploitation and refining and delivery and shipment of what petroleum costs and coal costs, fine. But you have to do the same thing with solar. You just destroyed this mountain for 8 ounces of a rare earth element that you can put into the turbines of a windmill. And the water table's been polluted, and this land is no longer suitable for habitation. You had to move 850,000 tons of soil to get 4 pounds of this material. This is not sustainable. But they don't take that. They only go, okay, we've installed the solar system.
And yet they call it renewable.
Right. We installed the solar system, and now no. It was transported there. It was manufactured somewhere. All the energy, all that carbon. You want to play the carbon. All of that is part of the equation. But the greenies, they forget all of that. It only starts for them when the thing is hooked up to the grid. Look, we're saving all this carbon. No. You've got a huge initial carbon sink and pollution sink that led to the creation of that. And it will take 10, 15 years before you even get even with the use of hydrocarbon. And that's the big lie that they don't tell people about.
So, Jabs, we need you to help us. We need you to help us help you. The 72 of you who are watching right now, but only 47 likes. You need to hit the like button. If you haven't already, push subscribe. The YouTube algorithm will notice your interactions and magically they'll push the stream out to other people. It's almost like science. Almost. So if you haven't already done so, smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, crack open a beer, and keep listening to us talk shit. Because what else are you going to do this evening?
Well, all of that's true except for the part where mine has a governor on my channel so that they regulate. But it is true that during a broadcast, if people start pushing like buttons, they start releasing more announcements out to your subscribers, which is a shame. Every subscriber should be notified every time, especially when they say notify me on all
That's
videos.
YouTube, my friend.
Yeah, I know, because on Morning Shot, I have all notifications, and I have to go back every few weeks and reset it to make sure it still says it, and I never get notified of any Morning Shot videos. Occasionally, I'll get them after they've been run on my app on my phone.
Should like our videos more. Is that an admission that you never smash our like button?
Well,
Is it?
I don't push buttons unless I actually watch the video.
John says he's cleaning his Glock 19.
Yeah, well, John's in Arizona.
That's
man.
my boy.
He's out in Arizona. It's you need a Glock 19, man. There's some big Gila monsters out there. Now look at that. You asked people to push the like button. We lost 7 viewers. Look at that.
See what happens.
Guys,
support the channel. I'm clicking off.
Very fickle crowd. Hey, I don't know if you saw this, but earlier this week I had Barry Hilton on the channel. He was fascinating. It was a lot of fun to talk to him.
What did he have to say?
Oh, well, it was interesting because he came on and I wasn't trying to I didn't get him on here to pimp him for jokes. I just want to talk about, his career, his life, and what he does for young comedians and helping the community out. And he came on, he's just in the habit because he's a funny kind of guy. He just starts dropping one-liners. And we actually started a couple minutes early because he was ready to go. He's like, okay, let's go. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to tell him, like, hold on. So we started about 4 or 5 minutes before the top of the hour, so I was scrambling. And he's telling the one-liners, and then I just kept asking questions and having a conversation like we're doing. And eventually it settled down to that. He'd tell an occasional joke, but most of the time he's just answering questions, and he was really comfortable and seemed to have a good time, except for when I started talking about South Africa, and because he didn't want to talk about politics, and that's fair. But I started, and I was talking about, one of the things I like about South Africa is the wide variety of people. What?
Sorry, I'm going to interrupt you for that for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
See that? People smash the like button. 75 watching.
Yeah, there you go.
You know what I mean?
Unfortunately,
you guys.
You can only hit it once.
Smash that like button.
We just gained 12 new subscribers because, not subscribers, but viewers because someone pushed that like button. See? No, but so I started talking. I said, one of the things I really like about South Africa is the variety of peoples. Xhosa, Venda, Afrikaner, Portuguese, English, and I think he thought I was going to say like him telling jokes about people, and he did this like stop right there. I'm like no. I said no, you're inferring incorrectly. What I'm saying is that what's interesting about you is that you've interacted with all these different peoples in South Africa, and you are incredibly talented at doing accents, and you do it in a humorous way in which everybody laughs about it. It's not directed at anybody. And then for a second there, it looked like the interview was going to go sideways because he misunderstood what I was saying. But no, it went pretty well. And after it was over, he thanked me. He said, no, this is nice. Usually people try to get me to just tell jokes whenever I come on, but this was nice to talk back and forth, and that's the intent. So it was a good time. I'm glad he came on. It was nice to have him on here. I'll see him on the 29th in Strand. I'll be down in the Western Cape, and I'll be going to his performance.
So if everybody smashes the like buttons, and we get this to 100 likes, I'll show you my firearm. How's that? There you go. I'll show everybody my
Can you
firearm.
show firearms on YouTube? I don't show mine because I'm afraid I'm going to lose my channel.
You can.
Yeah. Hey, so let me shift real quick hook here. Hey, folks, you're listening to the Braai Brus with Byron Shepard and myself, Chris Wyatt. He's in Havana, and I'm in no, there's no K there, man. And I'm in central Pennsylvania. We're talking about South Africa primarily. We've also touched on the United States a little bit, but I want to now. I'm going to turn and we're going to point the spotlight at Byron, and we're going because the Morning Shot they recently did a video. I did watch this video, not in its entirety because it was way too long, but I did watch this video in which they said they've changed their view. I think this is a consequence of going out and having interviewed people and having one view, and then people telling them something in the interviews. Then later on, their behavior is a little bit different. Maybe that's what it was. But can you tell us a little bit more about that video in which you guys said you changed your view?
Change our view as such. I mean, I think we did a live stream on this last night, and we talked a little bit about this just impromptu, but it's really important to understand what it is that we've done. everybody who watches our channel wants to see a very specific thing. So what they basically want us to do is they want us to say ANC good, ANC bad, DA good. Like that's it, man. As long as we say DA good, ANC bad, everyone like claps along. And it's like great. But we can't. In good honesty, we can't. The problem inevitably has become like, for us, we have seen that there are some individuals in the ANC that are trying to do good things. It doesn't mean we're voting for the bloody ANC. Let's just be clear. Like, we're never going to vote for the ANC. But what we can't do in all good conscience is to just sit there and constantly say, okay, just because they're members of the ANC, we have to forget that actually they are trying to do something decent. Gwede Mantashe is a really good poll, a good example of that. His position on coal is actually a very good one. And his position on energy is actually a pretty good one. His idea is that we have to improve baseload in South Africa. We can't improve baseload in the short term with alternative type solutions. We need to repair the fleet we got and just go all in on coal because that's what we've got. We need to repair what we've got. Once we've got a good baseload, we can start reducing the demand on the electricity grid with renewables. But he's like, you can't just go straight to renewables. You need a fixed baseload before you can go to renewables. And actually, the more you kind of speak to people, the more you understand his position is actually 100% correct. But if you follow the DA good, ANC bad mantra, we can't say that. Because now it's like you've praised somebody in the ANC. It's like, well, no. I mean, the ANC is still rubbish. But we need to be able to at least stand up and say, maybe the ANC is not always the bad guy here, just because they're the ANC. There are some members in the ANC that are trying to do the right thing. Does that mean that Gwede Mantashe is the best guy ever and we should all vote for him? No. Fuck no. But his position on coal is correct. And the mere fact that we dare to say that opposition parties may get something right every now and again, remembering the old saying that a broken clock is right at least twice a day. But the mere fact that we said that the clock is right twice gets us a lot of hate. People don't like it. They're like, oh, you're shooting for the ANC now. It's like we did a video on the EFF. We said the EFF actually did exactly what we suggested that the DA should do. And that is that it should take the approach of no enemies to the right. Partner with every party that has your best interests at heart and learn to get along and don't criticize people unnecessarily. Well, the ANC and the EFF actually tried to adopt that strategy, and the EFF actually started to kind of make friends with people that weren't natural bedfellows. And we said, this is great, this is a good idea, because they're following our advice. Does that mean we're voting for the EFF? No, but all we're saying is that whether a political party does something which we think, in our opinion, is actually like a valid point or a good strategy, then I say it. Didn't say you have to vote for the damn guys. We didn't say we are suddenly ANC guys or EFF people, but it was such a shock to people that we dared to say something good about the most hated people in the country that we almost had to actually make a video where we said, like, this is what we're doing. We're trying to be impartial. We can't just blindly follow the DA all the time and say, oh, DA, great. Like, they're not always great. Like, sometimes the DA are proper stupid.
No, I think a lot of times the DA are pretty stupid. Just saying. But listen, if people, and I know a lot of people have seen my presentation while I was still serving an active duty in when did I do the 2018 call? Was it 2018 or 2019? Anyway, back that time. I think it was 2018, early 2018 winter time when I did the South Africa's Fragile Democracy presentation. Now, that's part of a lecture series that's done by Ivy League schools, and the War College is part of that. And so you have noted speakers and topics, ambassadors, presidents, politicians, business leaders, and myself who do this. And so because it was on African, I was director of African Studies, they asked me to talk about it. If you watch that video, you will see a very different tenor, a different tone towards the African National Congress, but one of caution, which I say they have an opportunity to right the ship right now. Whether they take it or not is a different story. But my tolerance for the ANC disappeared a long time ago. I report fairly on the ANC, but I also blast them every day. Look, I tried to interview a mayor of the only successful municipality in the Eastern Cape run by the ANC, successful one. This is one that had passed its audits, like every audit for several years. The mayor was doing a good job, desperately poor, but doing a great job of providing services given the resources there. No interest. They don't want to talk. I've reached out to ANC multiple times to interview
ANC
people.
guys, man, they don't want to talk to people.
No, they don't want to talk to people.
Terrified of talking to people.
And this is why I was absolutely really impressed, not with the performance, but the fact that the new deputy ANC Youth League, I care less about them, that she went on Cliff Central. And she's not really, up to the task, but I got to give her credit for going on there because ANC just won't go on. It's irritating. And it's the same with the DA. I mean, in the past, I could get DA politicians.
Look, in fairness, the DA will come on the show. Like, even for us, we will get the DA on the show. But ANC guys, man, I got half the ANC's top bra. I got half the ANC's NEC on my cell phone. I got like half their numbers. Like, they'll message me and stuff.
Yeah,
get them on the show.
But the thing,
not happening.
The thing is that everybody gets a fair shake on this program. Nobody gets, gotcha questions. It never happens. I mean, even when you guys came on with that Dear SA nonsense, there was no. You weren't on for that. It was Gideon and Ramon. There was no gotcha stuff there. Me. Yeah, I know. That's why I said. I'm saying that I changed it. It's Gideon, and when Gideon and Ramon came on, they got a fair shake on that. But the point is that it's very frustrating because you try to deliver to the public an objective, balanced position, and people simply refuse to share what's going on. And then the media just runs whatever story they want. SABC got another story wrong the other day. They said COPE was deregistered as a political party. That is not what happened. Lazy
deregistered as a company.
Right. Well, they never should have been a company. I guess they wanted the trademark to make money off it. I don't know, but I have to ask Terry Lakota, but I don't have him on speed dial. Rob Hutchison promised me connection to him.
But hey, wasn't Rob Hersoff or Hutchison involved in that? Just saying.
Yeah, Rob Hutchison was part of COPE. That's correct. Yeah, he was one of the early people in COPE. But it's very frustrating. It's the DA makes a lot of promises and then never follow up. I have interviewed DA politicians, a member of Parliament a couple years ago. Interviewed, of course, Ronaldo. I've interviewed Francois Rogers from KZN and others. I've interviewed ward councilors in Cape Town when the fires happened a few years ago because I was covering it live for like 14 hours, the fires, when the media wasn't even covering it in South Africa. And so but it's difficult to get them to go on the program. And I've noticed now that political parties either are shutting me off or they're shutting up because they're gearing up for something. I had a lot of
man, they're not shutting people up. You misunderstand these people. You seriously do, and that's part of the thing that we've come to realize. Like, people on our show kept coming to us and saying, like, you need to speak to more people than the DA. Go speak to other people. Yeah. Like, we did.
I do. We spend I talk to every party that's available.
Absolutely. And here's the big thing, man. And it's something that you really need to understand. 25 years ago, every political party had media training. Every single one of them had a person that was very familiar with media lines, comm lines, and so forth.
Yeah.
Nowadays, everybody thinks they're a media expert because of social media.
Right. And
because they can go on their phone and they can go on TikTok and they all seem to think that they're brilliant when it comes through to the media.
And they're not.
Which is in itself the problem. Because they still have no media
Byron,
training.
I get that. Look, I mean, I've been pointing this out for ages. I mean, the DA, I've pointed out specifically, in particular, and the Freedom Front Plus. The Freedom Front Plus has really done, I think, a poor, abysmal job of letting people know who they are. I mean, they're not a right-wing party.
But again, let me finish this before you come in there.
Okay, go ahead.
And that is, every single one of them thinks that they're a master of the social media and all that because they got a full mobile suite in their hands called a mobile phone, right?
Yeah, there's their studio.
And they think that they're all brilliant. TikTok, YouTube, Facebook. They don't have media training. So the political party can only but do one thing. Ban all communications, full stop. You cannot talk to the media. You cannot post to the internet. You cannot post to TikTok. You can't, because they don't have the media training, but they think they're brilliant. And so they don't think before they talk. And we've seen that in numerous instances. It happens quite a lot in the EFF, right? Some guy goes on these colloquial council and then he's like, we're going to burn down this place and block off the school and I'm going to stand here with my AK. Like, it's dumb because they don't have political training. They don't have media training. So as a result, the political party shut down, full stop, interaction with the news. They shut down any dissent. And that doesn't help people like you and me, because then we just can't interview these people.
And it doesn't
They
help the
have
public.
No interest.
It doesn't help the public,
No,
because
doesn't.
we're trying to look. I mean, you guys. I tried to get Gate McKenzie. I didn't make a serious effort. I tried because I wasn't taking him that seriously early on. But he was the head of a party. I interviewed one of his candidates, the guy that ran against Ronaldo, who's a really nice guy, but didn't stand a snowball's chance in hell of winning. So I tried to get Gate McKenzie on, and he just wasn't talking. He was only going to the mainstream media back then. But then they pissed him off. But you guys interviewed him, and whether people like Gate or McKenzie or not, it was newsworthy. It was important for people to have that conversation, as was that little twerp and Poe Walsh, that clown. That interview was important because it exposed a lot of stuff, and it also pointed out something that Gate McKenzie, while he thinks he's right about a lot of things, owes Iranian an apology. He called them racist without any foundation. But it's important.
He got caught out.
Well, he should get called out.
He got pushed into an area, and he felt the need to condemn. Yeah, I know. He doesn't actually feel.
Yeah, I know, and that's and again, like we talked about before, maybe that's something you can clarify. But the point is but the public needs to know, and these parties don't go. Now, I'm going to answer a question here very quickly that came from R1. I think it was R1. It said, "Why did I say the Freedom Front Plus are not a right-wing party?" Okay, first off, you have to understand left-wing and right-wing are derogatory terms in the political vernacular. When you're called right-wing, you're called left-wing. It means that you're not of the norm, you're out of the norm, you're extremist. That's how people view those, and that's how I see those as definitions. The Freedom Front Plus, if you read their platform, and I hate the term manifesto because it's commie language, but if you read their Freedom Front Plus manifesto from their most recent elections in 2019 and the things they put out in 2021, you will see that this is a party that is a center-right party, not a right-wing party, a center-right. Most of their positions are centrist. Many of them are conservative, like life and right to life and things like that. That is to the right, but that's not a right-wing party. The Alternative for Deutschland could arguably be called a right-wing party, but I think that's even a bit extremist. But the point here is that it's a bad description for the Freedom Front Plus if you're objective. Now, I'm not in favor or against the Freedom Front Plus, but when 2019 came, I read all these party platforms, or manifestos that they call them, and every single party in South Africa was left or extreme left, including the Democratic Alliance. The sole exception were two: the African Christian Democratic Party, which is faith-based, which is why it's pulled more to the conservative side, and the Freedom Front Plus. So I hope that explains it, R1.
Because unfortunately, actually, what you're saying there is actually very true. If you actually look at a lot of political parties these days, a lot of them will be center-left or hard-left. Mm-hmm. There's actually very few parties that are actually on the extreme right.
Exactly.
So in South Africa, we do actually have what I would class as a proper right-wing party. And that's probably actually the PA, to be honest.
Exactly.
That must go.
No. You're right. You're right. The Patriotic Alliance, they really are a right-wing party. Absolutely, in most sense. Absolutely. Yeah. Just because they advocate for some silly things that are socialist doesn't mean they're not right-wing. Because parties, it's not hard. It's not hard and fast. So anyway, yeah.
So we do have one, but they're small. And the reality is, people like to think of the DA as being center right or right wing. It's not. It's not.
It's left.
It's a progressive party.
It is a progressive party. They believe in all. I mean, look. Believing in gay marriage is not a centrist position. It's not a conservative position. It's a left of center position. Now, it may become more in the norm, but that doesn't mean it's not still left of center. And that's not a good or bad judgment. That's just a statement of where it's at. And I think Byron and I agree on that. Exactly. So, no, it's funny because, but I get entirely that. Look, I criticized maybe that's why Helen Zillen never came on the program after she, without me prompting, told me in a conversation that she would come on the program. And I can't get past the Moat Dragons for Steenhuisen.
But she's the first to admit it, man. Like, I know Helen. I got a picture of Helen right there on the wall. If you see, there's
she's the what? She's the what?
If you see there,
no, you said you said something.
She's the first to admit this, mate. Like, what, about 10 years ago, she would have been considered left. She would have been considered center left. Now, because of the way the Overton window's been shifted, she's now considered like right wing. But she's not right wing, mate. She don't even consider herself right wing.
Not even remotely right. She's not a rabid leftist. She don't even consider herself right. But she's left of center. She's definitely a traditional liberal, and I think on some things a little further to left, but she's a traditional liberal. No, but what I was getting back to was, getting people on the program, not that where they sit on the spectrum, but I've been very critical of the DA for a long time because I think the way that they handle things is just abysmal. And the case in point was during the municipal elections when the whole thing in KZN over Phoenix, they put the posters up and then they took them down. I mean, come on, who's coordinating this stuff? And who's taking them down made
Well,
them
you know
look
our
worse.
position, right?
Yeah. Well, taking them down made them look worse than ever putting them up. You know, come on. It's just it's just you look like wafflers, and it's anyway. It's just it's unfortunate because the voters deserve to hear and see who these parties are because there's like 10,000 of them in South Africa. You know,
Right, chaps. It's that time again, right? Now there's 90 of you on the stream, and we only got 78 likes. Again, help us get this stream to more people. Smash the like button, get us to 100, and YouTube will be like, oh, people like this. And they'll push out the stream so that other people can see it on their noticings. YouTube's a fickle mistress, chaps. Like you gotta strike her just right. And then all of a sudden it gets you a little bit of love.
it definitely is a fickle mistress. But I will say this: ever since Sujin Wojo left YouTube, it's not been nearly as horrible as it was from 2021 to 2023. Truly terrible platform.
No, certainly hasn't. Certainly hasn't.
Yeah,
But coming back to that point now about politics, it's like, you know, if you look at it and you say, if the ANC is 5, the EFF is 10, the DA is like 2, but they're all along the same number line.
Yes, and
like you can't.
Yeah, they're all on that glide path. They're all on that glide path. Yep. No, I agree 100%. Trust your man. Just said in South Africa, politics are based on logos and brand colors, not being left or right. I get where you're coming from, Trust Your Madness. There's certainly a fair amount of truth in that, particularly because a lot of the electorate are not very well informed and shiny toys and KFC and T-shirts.
But it's also not true, because if you look at it, our political parties in South Africa, bar a couple small ones, actually all agree on the same policies. They seriously do.
They do.
They just agree. The only thing they differ on is the degree of implementation.
The DA loves state-run enterprises. They have no problem with Eskom being run by the state. They don't want to privatize. That's not their objective. But that's what needs to happen. And they don't want it. That's why, I'm not anti-DA, but I'm just saying you got to know who you're voting for here.
That's true.
You got to be clear.
Absolutely.
You got to understand what's going on. Very few parties actually are interested in doing the things that matter for South Africa. Look, the DA, rails against BEE, but I would not be surprised.
But has more BEE appointments in their municipalities than any others.
I was going there. Yeah.
No, it's so, I want you to think about it from this perspective. Everybody will say, okay, well, the DA doesn't want they want federal policing. Riddle me this, Batman. If the DA ran the entire country, do you think they'd want federalism in the police? Or would they actually have control at that police post and they would say, oh, well, we don't need it because, see, we're governing the police.
Exactly.
Or is it only because they govern the Western Cape that they somehow thinking to themselves, well...
This is a case of political parties going, the sky is blue. No, it's azure. It's green. It's complete 180 degrees opposite of the other thing. Just rail and complain. It reminds me of Dumelang Salashando, who is with the Botswana Congress Party in Botswana. When he ran as a young man after finishing university in Gaborone, and he was known on campus, so he got elected. It was a big deal, an opposition guy. He's still around in politics. He just gets reelected all the time. And all he did, every time the government said something, he just turned the opposite direction and said, it's this way, it's this way. And it doesn't matter. And that's a lot of that going on in political parties. And we see it here in the States too. I mean, we interviewed on my radio program one of the surrogates for Nikki Haley last night. And I had to go easy on my guest so as not to create a firestorm. But the guest was not really up to scratch on that. So, but it's anyway. Now, so Trust Your Madness says, I meant from voter standpoint, Trust Your Madness, before Byron interrupted me, that's where I was going with that. I was saying that from an uninformed voter.
Can I just say
hang on, I know you want to respond to Ronaldo.
How I'm terrible.
No, I'm not going to tell you
saying hello to your friend. I'm saying hello to your friend.
Which one?
Hello, Ronaldo.
Oh.
We don't mean to upset you, my friend. Like, hello. We're both PE bros. Come on, man. Share the love. Quebec all the way, hey?
So, okay, so I think that's directed to me. That's not directed to you, Byron. How can I say that they've been promoting privatization of state-owned enterprises for years? Yeah, okay. All right. Well, all right. Then there you go. So Ronaldo's got it straight. So he's got it straight.
Ronaldo, the angriest man in the DA.
No, he's not.
Those are the funniest.
Not even remotely. He's not the funniest and he's not the angriest. He's
funny.
Hey,
have you met half the DA guys? Like, at least Ronaldo has a sense of humor. Like,
no, they're all like cardboard cutouts. They're boring. No, not just kidding.
I believe you, Ronaldo. I believe you. Ronaldo says, watch out, I'll come with you. I believe him. I believe him.
Well, he could do that to you a lot easier than he could do it to me.
That's why I say I believe him.
There's not
In
much.
any case, when are you coming to my pub, Ronaldo? Sergeant Pepper's in Kabika Park.
It's not.
I've
much
at least
of a
come
threat.
to your bloody restaurant.
Oh, it's not. Hey, it's a good restaurant, man. We're not going to.
It's a lovely restaurant.
We're not going to diss on his restaurant. The restaurant rocks, man. But okay, back to before Byron interrupted me so rudely the second time. Trust your madness. Yes. Back to the voter states. Yeah, a lot of voters, man. Look, I mean, I don't mean to speak ill of South Africans, but the reality is that it's simply shiny objects. It's like, white trash in Appalachia. Ooh, a fishing lure. Ooh, bring you over here. KFC 3-piece Streetwise or in a T-shirt or, fancy logos. And this is who. Nah, people don't vote in an informed basis. And it's the same here. Trust me, I'm a judge of elections. You should hear some of the stuff that people say, not in line to vote because they can't do that. But when they're outside, because I go outside to make sure there's no disputes or arguments or fisticuffs, stuff like that in election time. And I'm walking around as a judge of elections and you hear what people say. The ludicrous things that people come up with, and these are people who are educated oftentimes. And you would think that they could form a more cogent thought or have more deep thinking when it comes to their vote. But now, a lot of people, their vote, straight Republican, straight Democrat, straight DA, straight ANC, straight EFF. Some of those people you'll never change. So that's a lost game. But the hope here is that if the DA and its moonshot pact can manage to get it together and other parties find their way to join that and unseat the ANC, you're going to have a coalition, probably a very fractious coalition, maybe not. I know that Roman has a very different view. He's happy with the ANC running things, running in the ground. It works. The country doesn't work. No one controls things. Roman loves that. That's like the ultimate anarchist libertarian perspective. But my hope is that we can turn this thing around. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. So actually, one thing I would say is I actually recommend to John. I said, John, you got this name of this political thing wrong. You need to stop calling it a moonshot pact and call it a moonshine pact. You're going to need a shitload of moonshine, and you're going to need to all sit down, get absolutely hammered, and maybe once you're hammered, getting a little bit pissed seems to bring people together, right? It's the only real kind of way that you're going to fix this. And he didn't find that funny. I thought it was hilarious. But
I think it's hilarious, but I can see why I wouldn't find it funny. Listen, what's going on with the media running all these stories around, and pimping the EFF's nonsense? The Oppenheimers are behind the Moonshot Pact. These parties being funded by deep, dark money. Meanwhile, Julius Malema is like, be sure not to give more than 100,000 rands so nobody knows who gave us money.
Oh, come on. That's smart. That's proper smart. That's proper smart.
I didn't say it was dumb. I didn't say it was dumb, but the point is that, it's actually very smart politics on his part because the media loves to run with the narrative and they don't point out the obvious, hypocrisy in that. But I mean, what's with the media? I mean, what's this fascination with the Oppenheimers? I mean, God, these poor people, they're always the target. It's like Jan van Riebeck. Poor Jan. Poor Oppenheimers. People need to let go. Yeah? You've paused. Oh, he's not saying anything. The stream just got cut off. YouTube shut me down. Damn it, the Oppenheimers are funding YouTube.
Experiencing intermittent connectivity.
But the Oppenheimers run YouTube. I didn't know that. So Slippery Pickle says it was Bantu Holomisa instigated the Moonshine Pact anyways. I don't know if that's a joke or he said something. If he did, I missed it. I haven't had Bantu on for a bit, but I am in touch with him because he knows I'm coming back to South Africa. I've actually asked for his help. And maybe you or Ronaldo can help me with this. I don't know. But I'd asked if there was something I could do from a cultural perspective with Xhosa in the Port Elizabeth area while I'm there, to get to know the Xhosa people a little bit better. So
Ronaldo will be far better situated to help you.
Yeah, no, so Ronaldo's here. He's defending the Democratic Alliance, so maybe he can do something useful here and help me out with that.
Come on, man. Ronaldo's our friend.
He is our friend. He is our friend.
Check it out, Ronaldo. I'm the nice guy, right? I'm the nice one.
If Ronaldo is securing for me a granny apartment, I'll be staying with the domestic help in somebody's flat.
Well, if you needed a location, you should have asked, man. I've got like 3 houses here. You can take one. No
I don't have any accommodation booked for my Port Elizabeth. I'll be sleeping in the car outside Ronaldo's restaurant.
No, it's fine. It's fine. No, seriously, it's fine. I have a house here. You can stay in this. No problems. You should have asked.
Oh, yeah. Here's the other one that's always coming up too. Frank Corp asked this. He asked you, Byron. He says, do you think the DA is receiving funding from the Soros Foundation? That's another one that's always making the rounds. They're funded by Soros.
That's come up quite a bit of late. And man. I can't confirm or unconfirm.
I don't know either. I don't know this, but I mean, I can only I only know Ronaldo said he'll sort me out. I don't know if that's good news or bad news. Usually when you say I'll sort you out, that's like you're going to get moored. I'll sort you out. My goodness. Explore Tata Night, best place to meet Costa. Yeah, that's a township, isn't it? Just checking. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. From Brisbane, joining the conversation. Hey, Patrick, good to see you there. So Ronaldo says good Byron's lad. Good. He's going to moor me. Okay, listen. Now that's actually
I support this.
I
support this.
That's actually a good threat because Ronaldo's so freaking short. He'd hit me in the nuts if he swang level.
Oof. Low blow.
Well, it's exactly what it would. It's exactly what it would be.
When you're in this country, the South Africans, we stick together. Aye. Be careful.
Aye. Bodykis.
Are you looking forward to coming to South Africa?
Yeah, I am. But I mean, this trip, I don't know. It's interesting because a lot of people, and I knew this was going to be the case. And Ronaldo and I talked about this, but I've talked to a lot of people. I said, that first trip, you can't replicate that first trip. Number one, the pace was just, I was exhausted when I came back. 5 weeks, every damn day, 12, 18 hours of running from place to place, flying, driving, speaking, meeting people. It was very exhausting, but it was incredible. And there was so much welled up enthusiasm for me coming, people offering their apartments and bed and breakfasts and things. And I only paid for 2 nights of accommodation in a month that I was there that first time. And I didn't even have to pay for those. I paid for those just to make sure that I had the place I wanted to be when I started the first and last night. And it was fantastic. People putting together meet and greets for me. I asked and they ran out and did it. Second trip was a little bit shorter notice, and the enthusiasm wasn't quite as great, but it was still an incredible trip, fantastic experience. This trip, people are reaching out, and there is a lot of enthusiasm, but it doesn't quite feel the same right now. Maybe when I get on the ground, it'll feel the same. We'll see. I think one of the things I really need help with for my viewers out there is meet and greets, because people like the meet and greets. I need some help. Now, the reason I say this is I don't live in PE. So Ronaldo's got a restaurant. You've got a pub. You guys can help me set something up there. Other people who are just viewers like Debbie.
You're welcome to do a meet and greet in my pub anytime. Well, just come there. It's a lovely British pub. Go sit there, meet and greet there all day long. And you know what? I just started stocking boer beer. Where else are you going to have that? Like, come on, guys. Boer beer. Okay, the Boers don't piss about, man. Like 5.9% alcohol. Like, shit.
That's near beer to me. I drink German beer, so anyway. But no, Boer beer, good stuff. Speaking of which, that reminds me, I got to get back with Danny Barnard because we may do a meet and greet out at his Boer Comboys. Might have to do one out there. And Nick Grove just gifted 5 memberships. The first one goes to Mr. Punisher. Thank you for that. So Ronaldo says he has to swing up to hit me in the nuts. Frankie Beans, oh, Frankie Beans. That's something about Mary thing. There's Alan Kutza, got a membership.
So you're looking forward to load shedding? Because that's our cultural enrichment program.
No, look, that's already happened.
Like we need to see some of the South Africanisms we hear about. And you're like, hey, load shedding. Check us out. What we do is we turn the grid off. We turn the grid off. And you're like, you turn the grid off. At least you leave the lights on, the robots on, right? You're like, no, we turn them off too. You're like, how do you direct traffic? It's like, it's fun. It's a little bit of excitement.
You pay guys $3 an hour to work for Discovery to stand out there at the intersection of 4 ways to direct traffic so you don't have accidents. That's how you do it. Yeah, anyway, but everyone else, we just got those. So we got Alan Coates, G. Sawyer, Tracy Wolf, and David all got gifted memberships from Nick Gross. Thanks for that. Appreciate it, Nick. Ronaldo says, if you're going to provide housing for me, he's going to drop the issue, and Ronaldo's too lazy. Where's the pub at? PE's 20 minutes away from Nick Gross. Where's your pub? You can tell us that. That's not a state secret.
No, of course it's not. It's Kabiga Park in Kabiga Park, near the Kabiga Park police station. It's a pub there on the old Cape Road called Sergeant Pepper's.
Well, that's kind of handy. Near the police station, you get some out-of-control customers. Of course, they never answer the phone, so it doesn't work out.
No. The Kabiga Park police station is pretty good, mate.
Okay, cool. Oh, it's a DA award. Oh, now we're loving on the DA now. good governance makes us a fan. There you go. What's this? In Hauteng, not Discovery, but the homeless does a better job. Yeah, no, the homeless do a good job, and they look for donations. Look, look. Here's the thing, and Byron knows this as a businessman. Governments can implement every restrictive measure. Governments can intrude. They can skew outcomes when it comes to the markets. But commerce always finds a way. People always find a way to trade and to provide services, regardless of the screw ups, the cock ups. It always happens. I mean, even in the gulag, prisoners who had nothing found ways to trade little things, and commerce always finds a way. The question is whether it's legitimate or not, but that's another story.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I went to a talk many moons ago that convinced me to become an entrepreneur by Ian Abenaki. You may know him as the guy who basically scammed a shitload of money from Americans. Obviously, very famous for the film with Leonardo DiCaprio. And he highlighted something during that talk. It was a great talk in London. And he said, there are entrepreneurs in Cuba that are millionaires. And Cuba is one of the hardest places on the planet to do business. So what's your problem? Like, you don't have those problems. And that basic talk really kind of changed my own mindset. Yeah, you can kind of we live in a shithole, but geez, man, like, it's not that bad. It's not Cuba. So I agree.
Yeah, no, you can. Trust Your Madness says, going through traffic lights during blackouts in South Africa is like playing a damn good game of dodgeball. It reminds me of Frogger.
Yeah. Well said. That's exactly it. Like I said, it's excitement. Am I going to get across the road? Am I going to get squashed? Well, hey, let's find out.
When I go to my friend's place at Four Ways and I get to that big intersection coming off the motorway there, what's cool is when the lights are out, I'm not upset about it. I'm nonplussed because I know now I have a chance to get through this intersection in less than 4 minutes if I'm lucky. Because there's no traffic lights, no robots. Well, but I've never been
unlucky. That's why you
force your way. You force your way. That's exactly right. That's why you have insurance. That's why I pay for the collision deductible, collision damage waiver. Yikes. Anyway,
you gotta love South Africa, man. It's like people go to the US and they're like, everything works in the US.
Not really, but
nothing works in South Africa. That's the brilliance of it. Like, you can go speeding all you want. So what are they going to do? Fine you? They didn't even know where you live, and even if they did, like, half the systems don't work. Nothing comes online. Like,
fair point.
Come on, man, get real.
That's a fair point. But yeah, no, on my trip, I am kind of looking forward to it. So I will land in Cape Town, stay overnight. I found out because of the crappy exchange rate for you guys, some of the lodging and it's wintertime has come out a really good price. I mean, I paid $30 for a nice bed and breakfast, which is in the old part of Cape Town. Beautiful spot. I've driven by it many times. I've never stayed there. So $30 for the night. That's incredible, with breakfast and parking and Wi-Fi. Anyway, so I'll stay in Cape Town that first night because I'll be tired after that trip. And then I'll the next morning get up, and I'm not sure what I'll do on that day on Saturday, but I'll find something in Cape Town. Maybe people want to get together or something like that. Or I'll go up to Signal Hill. I've never been to Signal Hill. I've been on Table Mountain.
Cape Town's great for a holiday. I could never live there, man. I know there's like a lot of people in South Africa like, I want to move to the Western Cape. Like, nah.
No. Cape Town to live in is pretty hectic. I mean, unless you're incredibly wealthy and have a big piece of plot of land, it's still. But the traffic is atrocious. And anyway, so I'll do something Saturday, maybe with viewers if they want, and then that afternoon I'm at the Netball World Cup. I'll be watching 2 games from 4 to 6, and then it's on the road to Somerset West down to Stroud and check into my bed and breakfast down there, and then go to Barry Hilton on Sunday.
Hey, what actual dates are you here? Just remind me. What are the actual dates?
In South Africa, 28 July.
No. In PE. Who cares about the rest of the country? That's immaterial. We're talking about the proper city. PE, man, the proper city.
The proper city. Is that what it's called? I didn't know that. Let me just pull it up real quick here. For PE, is it the 8th? I have it here. There's Eastern Cape. 8th August I arrive, and I depart on the 11th for Durban. So I'm there.
Oh, okay. So you're not going to be here for any of the major rugby events. That's a shame.
No, well, what major rugby events? There's no major rugby in PE.
Well, there's some games. There's some games on, obviously.
Well, South Africa's going to be on the road. I mean, their only home game is next, or 2 weeks from now, or 3 weeks. When it's the 29th is when they play at home at Ellis Park, against Argentina. Then all their games from there on are all on the road. They go to England, play Twickenham against the All Blacks, and their tune-up games, and then they got the World Cup in France. So
yeah, but you're not going to be at any of those. I mean, from what I'm hearing. So
no.
I think the reason I asked is because I got V slots in my location, and V slots are actually paying for all of the drinks on 2 of the rugby games.
Oh wow!
So the drinks in my place will basically be free. Thanks, V slots. But yeah, I was just wondering if you were going to be there on those days because I had no.
I'll be in South Africa. Yeah, I'm a huge rugby fan. I'll be in South Africa, and because of the way things booked, I mean, a chance to go to the Netball World Cup. It's a unique sports event. I didn't want to miss it, so I will be there and then on the road when the games will start while I'm sitting there, so I'll probably be watching on my mobile, and then I go down to Barry Hilton. But anyway, so Western Cape, I'm going to go up to the West Coast. Ronaldo's brother lives in Yzerfontein, I think it is, and he suggested Yzerfontein. Other people told me to go to West Coast before, and I've never been up that far. So I'm going to go there, then I'm going to go up to the Citrusdal to cover the post-flood events, what's going on up there with Gift of the Givers, if it works out well. Then back down the backside, I'll stay in Ceres overnight because I've never been there. Then back down to Zorgfleet. I'll stay overnight there at Stellenbosch, on the way to Stellenbosch. And then I fly from there a few days later to PE. I'll be in PE for a few days. I'm hopefully going to interview Retief Odendaal. I'm in touch with Athol Trollop, who doesn't live in PE, but will probably be there when I'm there. And if he is, we're going to get together and then come see you. We'll do a broadcast from your place. And then Ronaldo, the meet and greet. And Ronaldo's going to take me out to some, I don't know, Pigeon Island or Cockroach Island or something like that. What is it, off the coast of PE? Something like that.
Cockroach Island.
Yeah.
It's pretty adept, to be honest, to speed.
And then it's on to KZN, where I'll spend a night in Amazon-Todi, then up to Howick. I have to reach out to Chris Pappas, one of the few DA officials that actually will grant interviews. He and his deputy, I've interviewed them a few times, and maybe interview them and then speak at the Drockendale School, back down to Durban, meet and greets in Howick, meet and greet there, then off to Gauteng, where I'll spend about 8 or 9 days. I'm going to cover the National Convention at Emperor's Palace, but I'm getting no help from any of the parties involved in that to get press credentials. No. Yeah, they're not helping at all. And so
they don't want to help me.
Well,
they're just, like, they're all very anti-media.
They're absolutely morons, because I mean, why hold a convention, and make a big announcement about it if you don't want people to know what's going on in here? So I'll cover that. I've got my press credential request in for the BRICS. I haven't heard back from them yet for the BRICS Summit, and I'll be covering the BRICS Summit whether I get credentials or not, because it's in Stanton City. Worst I could do is stand outside game and hello, I'm out here and this is it, and these are people walking by. And then I'll be on the burning platform for Cliff Central. That'll be taking place while I'm in Gauteng. Live. I have to go in the studio at 7 a.m. And then I'll also going to be making an appearance on Pinnell, the Black Pen. I'll be on his program as well. And then it's back down to
Peniel the Black, yeah?
Yeah, that guy. Yep.
Yeah. Cool. You're going on his show. He's all right.
Yeah, I think he's all right. Yeah, I think he's all right. So, and he's got a big following. And a lot of people are like, you're doing that to get viewers. I'm like, look, Ernst von Sale was on his program. That's why I'm curious about going to his program, because Ernst was treated very fairly, and it was a brilliant conversation, and it was very objective. And a lot of people, the comments were incredible. It's one of the best sets of comments I've seen on videos on YouTube, where a lot of people, black and white eyes were opened up and said, wait a second, now this guy makes a lot of sense. I mean, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. So it got me thinking, and one of my viewers suggested I go on the program, and it got me thinking, it's a great opportunity for people to abandon their stereotypes if they have an open mind and start listening about what's really happening. So from my perspective, and so that's why I'm going there. But as far as getting subscribers, Ernst went on there, and it's not like his channel blew up and gained a bunch of subscribers. He's barely gained any subscribers. I don't expect to gain any subscribers. It's not about that. It's about having an open and frank conversation, and reaching an audience, which YouTube keeps me from doing on this platform. So it's Bird Island. Okay.
YouTube's a fickle mistress, my friend. YouTube's a fickle mistress.
It is.
What can I say?
It's Bird Island, says Nick Groves. Just don't go for. I don't swim.
So when you get here, you're gonna just hire a car and drive around. And
I hired a car last time. Ronaldo took me around all over, and I didn't want to be a burden on him because I was just there for a little over a day last time, so it was easy. And then Ronaldo was so busy that he even hired an Uber to take me to the airport when I left because he wasn't available. He was flying that day too, but different time.
Anyway. I know Ronaldo. He was like, Full of this Chris dude.
He's lazy.
Get him
I know.
Let's get him an Uber.
He's lazy. I didn't want to say that about Ronaldo, but we know that. So no, but yeah. So I've just got to hire. I've you should see my freaking credit card bills. Oh my god. I paid for my flight to South Africa. I paid for my flight to France this month. I paid for 4 flights in South Africa. I paid for 4 hires in South Africa. So I've got to hire in every location except when I get back to Cape Town the last day. Usually one-day rentals are prohibitively expensive, so I'm going to have to look at that. But I've got accommodation taken care of for all but 8 nights, but some people have offered accommodation, but I haven't had a chance to get back to it. So this trip I pay for more accommodation of my own because I'm going kind of out of the way where my viewers are not and they don't have anything to offer. So I just pick up that cost myself. But, it's interesting because I don't think people really realize what a great time sink and financial thing this is to do this. And a lot of people always asking why I do this.
YouTube. This is like free and stuff. And then YouTube pays you.
I'm not talking about YouTube. I'm talking about traveling to the world to cover things for people. So, yeah. No. It's definitely not a vacation.
Don't you earn so much money, Chris? Yeah. Like, surely that YouTube money is allowing you to do everything, right? That's the accusation that we get.
It's actually interesting that before YouTube came after me, I was actually, I don't mind sharing this with people. I've said it before. At that time, back in the day when I was surging, when I was like 200 subscribers behind Morning Shot and caught up to Morning, because they had like a 6,000 subscriber lead when we started. When I almost caught up to them before I got censored and taken off the air, I had a couple months where I was making about 50,000 Rand in a month.
50,000 Rand? Shit, man, we don't even make that.
Well, now I might make 500 Rand if I'm lucky in a month.
Yeah, we make about that much.
No, but it wasn't from super chats necessarily. I did a video on SEAL Team 6 because they rescued an American who was kidnapped from Niger and taken into Nigeria. The Special Force went and rescued him. And I just did it because it's Africa, it's U.S. military. I'm a subject matter expert on that, so I covered it. And I didn't think anything of it. And at the time, I just absentmindedly, because it says you want to monetize it, I must have clicked monetize and not realized it. I didn't even pay attention. That video blew up, had like 140,000 views in 1 month. Just 1 month, because it was. I actually made revenue off it for like 3 months. I made $450 off of that video for advertising.
$450.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep. So wow. Oh, look, Nicholas says I made exactly 570 Rand this month because he just gave me 70 Rand. Thank you, Nick.
Well, thanks very much, Nicholas. Make sure you subscribe to Morning Shot.
But
I was like, hey.
But look, in the States, see, that's another thing. The advertising revenue in South Africa, thank you for that, Nick. The advertising revenue in South Africa, the rate is so much lower than it is for the U.S. or UK, which you get back from YouTube because of the types of advertisers. But and that's why that video took off, because Americans were watching it. But the thing is, there are people that make buttload of money on YouTube. You've got PewDiePie, you've got Officer Tatum, you've got the
those guys twins. Are like proper wank, man. What's wrong with us? Freaking cutie pie.
Yeah, guy's got 140 million subscribers last time I looked, but no, the point is,
that's more an indictment on the state of the global population more than anything else.
I was on Cliff Central and some clown was trying to be a smartass because I was Cantan Pillay was on there, and I thought about having Cantan Pillay on as a viewer, and then he started saying something that didn't make any sense at all. I'm like, well, maybe I have to reassess whether I want him to be a guest in the program, in a sarcastic, joking manner. And this guy comes back, well, I'm sure he doesn't want to come on your pathetically small little platform, something like that. You know what?
Some people are proper dicks, man.
They really are. Just a bag of dicks. But no, a couple years ago when I got a strike for something that it was reviewed and was restored, taken down for the same thing 3 times, the video kept getting put back up. When I was given a strike and off the air for a week, Ronaldo sent me a link to a video of a scrawny white woman shaving her vagina, and she had 140 subscribers and 140,000
He was
views.
Sharing PornTube with you.
Yeah, that was on YouTube.
Or was that his OnlyFans?
No, it wasn't OnlyFans. It was on YouTube and not removed. At 140,000 views. So, when people come at you like that, I don't really lose any sleep, about that sort of nonsense. The fact that someone has, it's like people like Joe Rogan's amazing. Okay, if you say so, I just don't find him that interesting. He has 100 million subscribers. That's awesome for Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan's gone mainstream, man. Yeah. He used to be so great. Yeah, but he's not now, man. He's
just not my cup of tea.
He's sold out.
Just not my cup of tea. But yeah, on the trip, I am looking forward to it. But it's going to be exhausting because I got to go on the trip all over the country, then straight back here, and then right into, I get back on Saturday or Sunday, and then right into consulting work at the War College, which screwed my travel up because they changed it around. Usually we do 3 weeks straight for this program. Now they want to do a week, 2 months in advance to make sure it's all prepped. Anyway, it's the last time on the contract, so I don't know if they're going to renew it. But anyway, so then I do that, and then I'm back here for that week, and then a couple more days, and then I'm off to France for the World Cup for a month. All I have in France is my ticket there and back and a rental car reservation, no lodging. I don't have any flame retardant material. I'm going to try to pick that up when I get to Paris, because if it's still burning when I get there. Anyway, yeah. Officer Tatum is definitely minted, that's for sure. John found me during the South African riots. Yeah, John, I had some pretty extensive coverage of those riots, didn't I?
Was that you at the front row causing them?
Yeah, it was. I was one of the 12 that were indicted, one of the usual suspects.
Have you noticed that we got truck burnings here in South Africa? And Becky Seller came out today and said, 12 it's the work of 12 guys.
Yeah.
I think he's got the number 12 ingrained on his head. He's just
it's an earworm.
It's a magic
right
number.
There. Yep. Yeah, no, it's funny. And I said that on my program yesterday. I said it's fascinating how the Minister of Police back at Chile can find 12 suspects just a couple days after a whole bunch of BEE trucks were torched in KZN, Limpopo, and in Mpumalanga. Yet we don't know who murdered Brendan Horner. We don't know who murdered Edward Neumeister. Isn't that interesting?
But they don't know who the freak is burning trucks. Probably construction mafia or something. So that was actually my thought. I thought, I said, is this another version of the taxi wars? Is this rival trucking companies taking out their opponents? No doubt.
Yeah.
But you know why they burn the bloody trucks? Right? Because they're all vying for different transport methods. Why's the railway getting dug up? The answer's easy, man. The railway's getting dug up because the bloody lorries don't want to lose all of the transportation routes. So they dig up the railways. Why do you think they're burning down trucks now? It's because somebody else wants. It's all a mafia racket somewhere. Anyway,
you're going to respond to Slippery. You're going to respond to Slippery Pickles' UFO question.
Damn right. Let's get in there. Damn, you knew it. This so controversial take. What is my opinion on UFOs? What if, just what if, they're not UFOs at all? What if what we're actually seeing is potentially what the ancients would have called angels and demons? Huh? What do you think?
Well, people ask me this question frequently. Before I answered, though, Nick Rhodes said 12. No, we were talking about 12 suspects, Nick, not 12 trucks. It was 21 trucks burned as of yesterday. 2 more today. That's 23 that we're aware of. No, we're talking about 12 suspects. They claim they don't name them, but they got claimed. The FBI would give us at least the most wanted list, but they haven't done it. UFOs. Yeah, there are UFOs. Anything that's in the air that I can't identify is an unidentified flying object. Is it sentient alien life? Given there's very little sentient Homo sapien life in Washington, D.C. and government, I'm not sure about sentient alien life.
Good answer.
Listen, it would be incredibly arrogant as a species for us to assume or to claim that life doesn't exist somewhere else in our universe or even in our own galaxy. And quite frankly, I think it's a bit arrogant of us to assume there's no other life in our solar system. I tell you now, there is life on Enceladus below the ice caps in that warm, sloshing salt water that's down there. We will find a form of life. Now, it's not going to be someone as dead sexy as me and walking on 2 legs, but it is going to be a form of life that reproduces and meets all the conditions for life. Not necessarily sentient life. But yeah, as far as funny things in the sky, I don't know. That's something that people are fascinated with. I mean, you got Roswell, you've got all this stuff going on, lights in the sky, alien abductions, probes put in. It's not the aliens putting probes in you, it's the FBI putting probes in you, man. Pay attention.
Well, it could be your wife these days.
Well, that's a whole other kettle of fish right there. Well, look at this. Fleshin is tuned in from the 15-minute city of Oxford, finally. His wife, it takes her 40 minutes to get to work now because they've shut down the central part of town. She has to drive all around.
Oh, man. Yeah. If you've actually ever been around Oxford, it's what a shithole of.
Oh, it's a terrible place to get around there.
Oxford ring roads, man. Just go park your car and walk.
That's what I did. We parked 2 miles away and then walked all the way up the river. And it was a good day to go there because it was the rowing competition from, and all they're out there
It's,
running.
it's terrible because you got to go to M4. You got to go past that Oxford Ring Road to get to the M4. So if you actually even want to go to like Wales or Bristol's, you got to kind of go past that bloody shithole.
I know.
Like,
I've done
you
that.
just can't drive,
man.
It
sucks.
You just can't drive.
Yeah, and
like being in LA.
And what's frustrating with if you use the GPS, if you follow GPS, I prefer to use a map, but it's almost impossible to find a printed map in the UK anymore. The Land Ordnance Survey doesn't even print the damn things, it seems. But I got the most recent one I could find, which is 2019. But anyway, so actually I got a new one here this time, but it's spiral bound. I hate those. But if you follow the GPS, the damn thing always wants to take you on a route that has a bazillion roundabouts. You speed up to the speed limit, and then a kilometer later, you got to slow down to go through a roundabout repeatedly for mile after mile after mile. Just put me on the damn motorway. Put me on the M1. That's where I want to be. Quit telling me to come over here on this freaking, A or whatever the hell it is. Very annoying.
Google Maps in the UK, man, it's like Loki. It's a proper Loki.
It is. There you go. Nick Rose just gave 5 more memberships. There's Miss Pumbaa. Thank you for that membership. Etienne Ronnie, Galactic Explorer, Greg Maskell, and Swearum DJ. By the way, folks, I have done something recently. There's Etienne Ronnie. Done something recently. I did a video that was a members exclusive, not a members only, where just everybody could watch, but only members could chat, but only members could view it. And that was my reminiscence of my experience in the Gulf War. And there's Greg Maskell. And then, so I did that to try it out. But of course, typically YouTube, it shows about 300 views instead of the 30,000 that are actually there. So, but if you guys like that, let me know, and I'll do more of this.
So Mr. Punisher says 100 likes. Says Byron, whip out the firearm. You did get 100 likes. Well done, Chris. Got 100 likes. There you go. I'm a man of my word. There it is. Smith & Wesson Shields.
Galactic Explorer. Well, that's the end of my channel. Anyway.
No, it's fine. We've done full EDC videos on morning shots, and we were fun.
No, they're really ridiculous. I mean, it was there was something that they put on recently about showing firearms on live stream, and YouTube's always changing the rules. You can't even keep up with them. They don't notify you most of the time. So anyway, but yeah. So Jay-Z back to prison. What do you think? It's going to happen?
I don't think he has a choice at this point in time. Either we break constitutional law and we don't send him back, in which case everyone's going to be like, oh, okay, so it's a load of cuck in this country at the law, and everybody knows, like, well, that's the law. Or he's going to have to go back, in which case we're going to have more of the most peaceful process in all of human history, which, to be honest, at this point in time is just a repeat of, France 2 weeks ago. So seems to be becoming the norm now. It doesn't matter what city you live in.
Or Kenosha. Hi, I'm from CNN. I'm standing here in a mostly peaceful protest in Kenosha. Car dealership on fire behind him. Gunshots ringing behind him. People running up and down the street swinging sticks.
For people who don't know, that's exactly why we refer to it as a peaceful protest. Exactly. Because of that exact video. Like, look, I'm in a mostly peaceful protest. Like, there's fire everywhere and gunshots going everywhere. It wasn't peaceful.
It wasn't a fire. It was a conflagration behind him. The flames were leaping 40 meters in the air.
Bloody RPG flies past the head and a grenade gets thrown. It's like, it's mostly peaceful.
It's pretty cool out here. Yeah, that's right. I'm not a witch. She's a witch. Burn her. I'm not a witch. Look at her nose. Americans, man. They put this nose on me.
So stupid, man. So
oh
stupid.
Yeah, it is. It is beyond. It's so funny. You look at things. Monty Python, they predicted everything, right? Call me Elizabeth. I want to be known as Elizabeth now. You're impressing me. Oh, I remember those things. It's so funny. And then even you look at Seinfeld. You're not wearing the ribbon. Why are you not wearing the AIDS ribbon? You must wear the ribbon. And then they beat the crap out of him because he's not wearing the AIDS ribbon for the AIDS walk.
Do you know who I've actually stopped watching now?
Who's that?
Yeah, like proper stop watching. South Park.
I never watched it, so it's. But why did you stop watching it?
I've stopped watching it, man. It's like a spoiler alert for the future.
Oh, because they predict everything in advance.
Everything that they did that was just so like stupid and like out of this world. They were like, that's meant to be funny. It's like, it's all true now, man. It's literally all true. And you're like, it's just a spoiler alert. So it's like, don't watch it anymore. It's like spoiling the future.
Yeah.
Like they did a whole episode. I don't know if you've ever seen it on Strong Woman and Strong Man.
Nah.
So there's this
I
guy
don't watch South Park, man.
So there's this guy who's like, And they did this ages ago. So he's like, he looks like Randy Savage from WWE. You remember, like, big muscles and stuff. And he's like, yeah! And he decides, like, no transformation or anything. He just goes into a women's competition and says, I'm a woman! And he just goes into all these competitions. And he smashes everybody. Wrestling, throwing, javelin, running. He smashes everybody. He's like, yeah! I'm the strongest woman in the world. And he wins everything. And it's like, ha, it's funny. Except it's
true now.
reality now. That's
it's
actually happened.
Yeah. No, and R1 said The Simpsons was prescient too. Yeah. No, that's true. Also didn't watch The Simpsons. I don't watch Family Guy. I don't watch any of those cartoons. I see clips of them all the time because people circulate them, but never really got into those things. Nothing against them. I mean, they're funny. It wasn't my cup of tea. Trust Your Madness says, Jay-Z back to the clink. KZN Ryan's 2.3 loading. Yeah. Yeah, so I guess I need to get ready to do coverage of riots again in South Africa. Now, here's the question. When was it? The dates are getting a little fuzzy now because it's been 2 years ago, but I think it was June 29th is when the decision was reached against him. He was found in contempt and ordered to go to court. He was given until the 4th of July at midnight, I remember because it's our Independence Day, to turn himself in to the correctional facility. And if he didn't turn himself in, the commissioner of police and the police minister, Beckett Seeley and Delamini, or whoever the guy was before, they were directed to apprehend him and take him to facility by midnight on the 8th. Of course, at 23:32, he starts driving in his entourage out of Nkandla to Escort, which is not exactly 5 minutes away. So he didn't arrive at the prison until about 2:30 in the morning. At 3 o'clock, I think it was, something like that. So he was in violation. The minister was in violation. The police commissioner was in violation. And then, of course, at Mui River that next night, we already saw trucks being lit on fire at the toll plaza, and that's what it all started. So I told South African government and South Africans on the 29th that there would be violence, there would be looting, there would be chaos. Now, I didn't know that 100,000, 300,000 people were going to rampage through Game and ShopRite and clicks and Pick and Pay and all that stuff and just tear everything up. But it was easily predictable. I don't have the intelligence services, signals intelligence, human intelligence sources, crime snitches, none of that at my disposal. So I'm going to make the not very particularly bold prediction that we're going to see a repeat of some nonsense unless this idiotic government intends to try to stop it. The police weren't rehearsed. They weren't in position. They weren't pre-positioned. They had no resources, no bullets. They ran out of bullets. They ran out of rubber bullets within the first 24 hours. The military was sent in. They had no rations. They had to go stand at the front of the queue for the few shops that weren't looted. Yeah. Anyway, that's going to be so easy to predict. Any thoughts on the chaos that's coming? Nope, you're silent. Oh, you're silent.
I don't know what to say, man.
Okay.
I don't know what to say.
Well,
last time this happened, I went out and I bought a shitload of rubber bullets, slugs, shotgun shells of like birdshot, double D's. Like, man, I'm fine.
Well,
I'm fine.
This doesn't come at an opportune time for my trip because I'll be in KZN on the 11th to the 15th of August. So if Jay-Z's going back to prison, hey, wait till September, brother. Or I could be on the scene. I have a handheld mic now. Hey, is this mostly a peaceful protest?
No, it's a TV looting expedition. I love that July riots, man. You had police officers stealing stuff.
Oh, yeah, no, we caught them. But you know what I remember when that started going down and people are like, what's going on? I said, it's like watching the freaking Die Hard movie where they're in New York and there's gold in the Federal Reserve and Bruce Willis grabs this kid. What are you doing? You want to go to juvie for a Snickers bar? He goes, man, the cops are into some shit, man. It's like Christmas. You can take anything. And that's what KZN was. Yeah, sad, but true.
I don't know what to say, man. Because even now, the News 24 came out with the headline. I need to read it to you because you see, media people, we know what we're reading, right? Normal public doesn't. So it says, Zuma may go back to jail after Concourt refuses to hear correctional services appeal. May go back. Even the News is like, may. This might happen. Even they're like, yeah, we'll believe it when we see it, right? So, I don't know. I don't know. There's a part of me that also wonders, like, we're not far from a national election now. The ANC is polling to get an absolute spanking next year. Kind of makes sense for them to have a huge, big, mostly peaceful protest, and then say, "Oh, guys, we got to postpone the election because it's not safe."
Well, that's
would they do that? Like, yes,
that's pretty.
Yes.
That's an interesting take on another take on it is that they could ill afford for this to happen again. I mean, they lost control of a whole bunch of municipalities in KZN to the IFP, who barely polled any better, but the ANC voters stayed home in large measure because what happened in July 2020, but not exclusively. They really can't afford to have any of that kind of nonsense take place. I mean, they're too busy trying to mislead us about load shedding. Oh, load shedding's over. Is it? Really? No, it's not. We're back to stage 6.
Well, load shedding was over. But you see, this is the thing, man. Is Double D a shotgun cell or a SARS? Depends what shotgun you're referring to. Anyway, the problem that you've got here now is peaceful protests like this in South Africa are a commonality.
Yeah,
and you live in a volatile country. We said this even during the time, like, you need to be prepared, man. Like, go out there, make sure you're armed, make sure that if this ever happens again, you're not caught in the dark. Like, you got your firearm, you got a shitload of ammo sitting around. Like,
you've got communications, not just a cell phone.
Get a communications network, and we told people even during the time, like, prep, man, prep. Ramon and I are both big fans of morning shots and prepping. We are proper preppers, man. Like, we are proper preppers. And we even did a video on it where we like showed what we prep with. Ramon's got a bug out bag. I got a bug out bag. I got rifles coming out my wazoos. Like, yeah, Ramon's got rifles coming out of his wazoos. Like, we are proper preppers. We love the whole concept of it because we don't want to be caught with our pants down. And a lot of people don't work like that in South Africa. They do it with the energy crisis too. It's like, I'm off grid. People will go, but why? Such a waste. Yeah, because I don't like my life being inconvenienced by load shedding. And then they're like, yeah, but it's only temporary. Like,
yeah,
there's nothing.
temporary.
There's nothing more. There's nothing more permanent than a temporary measure. I'm sure you've heard the saying.
Exactly. 8 hours a day is not temporary. Yeah.
And they all go, oh, but I don't. So I've got a friend that works in solar, right? Yeah. And he sells solar units. And for those of you who are looking for it, I'll name drop him in a second. But he does solar units here in Port Elizabeth. And he told me a few weeks ago, people were like coming to him left, right, and center, man. They were all over the show going, yeah, we want units, we want units. And then load shedding started to reduce. Then they're like, the order we wanted, we're having second thoughts. Look, load shedding's reduced. Literally a couple of weeks later, everything's like, oh, it's fucked again. And there's load shedding again. And everybody's now calling him back up going, oh, that order I cancelled. Dude, do me a favor. Can I reignite reinstate the order? And you're like, nah, dude, I sold the unit on to someone else. Yep. So...
No, but
this is a standard habit now.
It is, but it's not just there, but it's certainly prevalent in South Africa. But I mean, the perfect example of this is what's going on right now. A week ago Monday, we got the update after Rand Water was supposed to turn the water off for the western suburbs of Joburg in June. They're supposed to turn it off for 44 hours. It was postponed to do the maintenance. And so now there was an update a week ago Monday. It came out in the news. I told my viewers, and I told them that day, go get water. Go buy water or fill your fire pool or fill your bathtub, fill all your containers, get water. And I told people every day, it wasn't...
Your fire pool, yeah?
Yeah, fire pool. Yeah, exactly. Everybody gets that joke. But it wasn't until 2 or 3 days later that the media began to tell people about this. And it wasn't until this week on Monday and Tuesday when they said, you should go get water. By then, Pick and Pay, Checkers, Spar, ShopRite, all the damn stores, were just, the water's gone because people didn't plan ahead. You would think that people would have learned something from the scamdemic that took place the last few years when there was no toilet paper because people panic buy and there's no tissue. When that all started, Byron, I don't call myself a prepper, but I am prepared as a military guy. I mean, when there was no toilet paper or paper towels at the store, I just went downstairs and pulled out of my stock. When people couldn't get certain canned goods, I went downstairs. When my DVD player quit playing because it burned up, I didn't have to rush off and buy it or wait for it to come from China through Amazon. I went to the basement, pulled out a box of a spare, and installed it. People need to be prepared for things. By the way, DVD players only cost like $30. It's not like I had like expensive things sitting in the basement. People are like, wait, you must be really rich, man. You got a spare DVD. Well, I'm in the military. I deal with 110, 220 voltage all over the world, auto switching, yada, yada, yada. So I got backups for lots of things. Anyway, but the point is that for me, it was just another day. It was annoying, but it was another day. But people, they have no long-term memory. They've already forgotten what happened in the lockdown, and they're already, and like you said, we want the solar system. No, never mind, it's expensive. Well, that's why I'm looking into the solar thing, because it won't cost me any money. My bill will be fixed at a lower rate, and it can't increase at the rate that the other one can. And over time, I may get a lot of that money back. So, I'm looking into it. Doesn't mean I'm going to do it. I got to qualify for it first. They got to allow my house to come off the grid, but they need to get their carbon emissions down. So they're desperate. So it's a golden age right now for residential solar here in the U.S. because of government intrusion in the capital markets. Anyway.
Yeah, and I agree with every single thing you said there. But as I say, for me, it's like, dude, you live in South Africa. The idea that you're not going to need this stuff at some point in time, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, it's like, come on, man.
Yep. And a lot, there's especially no excuse for that with perishables. I mean, with non-perishables, non-perishables. If you got like paper towels, toilet paper, those are non-perishables. Look, I'm a bit frugal. I'm still using some hand soap that I bought in South Africa at OR Tambo in 2011. I still got a little bit of it left. So, I'm frugal, but no, it's smart to be prepared ahead of time. It's the same with resources. I mean, sure that the same people that are canceling those solar orders are people that have a zero bank balance and no savings or no retirement investments either. I pretty much guarantee that's the case for many of those people.
So just for you guys who are wondering, the company, I said I got a friend that does solar. So the company is called El Nino Solar. El Nino Solar.
Like El Nino is in the storm system? El Nino?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So El Nino Solar in Newton Park. You can join today for 25% off. Sound like a salesman now. But actually, no, I genuinely have a friend who does it. He's great. He's great.
Just mention this channel and you get 80% off.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. Mention the channel and you're going to get 80% added on.
So much for margins. There go the margins right there.
So one person insulting my Smith & Wesson. He says Byron needs to figure out his calibers. So, Chris, you don't have to tell me the rifles, man. But tell me, what calibers are you rocking? I need to hear this. I need to hear.
No, I'm not going to disclose that. I have an armory. I don't want people to know what I have. I don't want people to know what I have.
Yeah, so I think my biggest...
I have a 303 Enfield.
I have a 303 Enfield, actually.
Do you really? That's funny.
I do, actually.
That's funny.
I love it.
Oh, no, it's great. Yeah.
It's a 1942 Lee Enfield 303. Literally came out of World War II trench.
Wow.
The gun was actually used to shoot Nazis. So, yeah, I got a Nazi killer in my safe. But I think my biggest...
Then you are the OG anti-fascist.
Absolutely. I actually have the weaponry used to shoot Nazis. Like, come on, man. It shot Nazis.
It doesn't get any more genuine than that.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. But actually, no, my biggest caliber is 50 cal.
Okay. Well, I've had a 50 cal, but mounted on top of my armored vehicle going into combat. Corinne Rizla says, solar energy is a scam. What are you going to do when Biden blocks out the sun? It's a good point there, Corinne. What are you going to do when they block out the sun? I mean, we were talking this to the guy who sells the solar stuff, was here for the company, and when I was like, man, I said, hey, listen, I know you're pushing the solar stuff, but the president wants to block the sun out. How am I going to make any money off this deal?
Oh yeah, that's right. Your dumbass president is actually genuinely trying to block out the sun. It's like he's proper modeled his character of Monty Burns from The Simpsons.
It's just, it's unbelievable. Did you see him
I
walking?
didn't actually see that. He's doing some kind of.
I did a series of like 4 little shorts where I used my camera and I put the video up and did a split screen where I'm over here and then the video is mostly on the screen. And it's him arriving on Marine One. He gets off the helicopter and he does a nice salute. I'll give him credit. It's a good crisp salute. And then he talks to one of the Marines. He gives him a challenge coin and like just completely ignores the other Marines. Just walks off. There's 2 of them there. Then he goes to number 10 doubting it. And they film it. They're trying to make it look impressive and stately as he walks along. He looks like he's got a broom handle up his backside when he's walking. Look, I know he's an octogenarian, but you shouldn't film people this way when they look so stupid. And then he gets almost to Rishi Sunak, and he does like he's all like a school kid. He does like a little hop and skip. I swear that his shoes came half a centimeter off the ground for that skip. So I made a video of that, and then one when he was with King Charles. I put those on my original channel, the one that's being harassed. It's back up, but oh my goodness, it's I don't know what to say, man. There was a time when other countries around the world should be embarrassed by their leaders, but I truly am embarrassed by the people that lead this country. It's shockingly embarrassing.
I think your president's amazing. He's literally shaped his character with Monty Burns.
If you say so, man. I don't think he shaped anything. I don't think he even knows what's going on. But I will give him this. A couple of his recent speeches, apparently whatever cocktail they're giving him with his amphetamines has been balanced just right because he seems to last longer when he speaks. It's not until he takes questions that the amphetamines wear off.
But I saw an interview with him today, and I loved it. So apparently the Russians should really stop committing acts of war crimes against the Russian people.
Yeah.
Like that's brilliant. So Russia went to war with Russia. Okay. Yeah. Did you see the interview he did when the press conference he was doing when he was in India, and he sat there next to the Indian Prime Minister and he's like, I've sold so many state secrets in my time. So many. And the Indian Prime Minister's like, dude, shut it. Like, we don't say that. What are you doing? He's like, I've sold so many state secrets. So many state secrets.
What's so pathetic about it?
The drugs wearing off.
Yeah, well, what's pathetic about it is, I mean, I was actually trying to make a joke. It appeared, but I mean, incredibly stupid joke to make at a time when all the news stories are about him leaking classified information, leaving his Corvette and all this. And he's like, oh, I've been selling states. Yeah, of course he has been. Look, I mean, whatever. I can tell you this unequivocally. It's a factual matter. One of my colleagues was a non-commissioned officer, signed a White House communications team, and was there when Biden was vice president. Biden would go to Delaware on the weekends on the Amtrak, the Acela train. That's the name of that line. Anyway, he would go up there. He would carry, and he's not authorized to carry because he doesn't have courier orders. He would carry classified information. He would sit down in an open train because he's a man of the people, if that's vice president, with the public in the train, not a private car. And he would open up his satchel and pull out top secret, sensitive compartment information, documents, and imagery about national security and read it. His military staff, including my colleagues, said, sir, you can't do that here. It's not a clear facility. These are my people. It's okay. There's no threats here. And then his civilian staff told him the same thing. He did this for years. The man has no respect for our nation's secrets. He is a grifter from day one. He is a noted plagiarist who stole at university and then was so lame when he ran for president, he even stole Neil Kinnock's speech about the guy's. It's just unbelievable. One of my favorite quotes from him is when he first got in the Senate in 72, a guy's interviewing says, Senator Biden, you famously have talked about corruption in government. And of course, we know that you're not corrupt. And then he says, well, you shouldn't assume that I'm not corrupt. That was the best line ever, man. 1972 is awesome. You shouldn't assume I'm not corrupt. Well, I don't, Joe. I don't assume you're not corrupt.
I can't believe that you guys voted him in.
I didn't. I didn't vote him in, so you can't blame me. I voted early and often. I voted
to a large degree. What you guys are exexperiencing right now, you deserve it. You deserve it.
Oh, look! I'm the first to say that. Look, John Fetterman, Joe Biden. Come on, man. Look, we deserve it. We deserve this fate. And these culture wars that are going on. This is America's fault. Because people took their eye off the ball. Now, I won't accept blame for it because when it all manifested, I was overseas defending democracy and saving the world. I came back and they destroyed my country.
Wait till you see my video on Monday.
Okay.
Ramon loves it. It's like me, ranting and swearing for like 10 minutes.
Okay, that'll be cool.
Yeah, I'm really angry about your country and one specific person there, the lady who wrote White Fragility, who gave white fragility to the world, the diversity training lady herself.
Ah, the racist, yes.
Thank you, America, for your wankers.
Well, thank you for your fees must fall bullshit, which found its way over here.
Thanks for everybody. We're proud of that. We're proud of that. And don't forget our roads must fall. Roads must fall.
Yeah, roads must fall.
We did that one too.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Yeah. Now we've got people walking around going, "You need to forgive my student loans." No, we don't.
I'm so glad that we could culturally enrich your place.
Ah, you definitely did.
You share your culture with me.
We share
I share you my culture.
It's like we swap.
Like that's how it works. Just think about it. We invented load shedding, and now we're exporting it to you.
Well, we're getting load shedding. This is the original globalization. Export your problems.
Like we've got some really shitty, useless individuals that like can't make it anywhere else. Like, see, they're yours now. They're free. They're free.
The sad part is that we always had them. They just weren't in positions of authority. Now they are. I mean, you don't invent people like this overnight. You know, it takes a while for them to become so brain dead. Oh my goodness. Dave says, "Oh, I'm so sorry I missed the beginning." Well, Dave, you can go back and watch it. That's the magic of YouTube. It's unless it gets a strike, the program, people's videos remain there unless they take them down. So whether the YouTube or the content creator does, but I leave all my content up. No one can accuse me of you removed this to cover something up. There's nothing removed. The only things I did remove is anything that might be cheeky on my original channel when it came back. And in fact, it was smart of me to do that. I took most of my live streams and I made them private on the old channel. I went from 1,800 videos. What's that?
So we did that on Morning Show.
Well, you have to, though.
Do you remember once upon a time, Ramon used to do like all these wind downs every day? He'd like sit there for a camera and talk shit to people.
Yeah.
Like when he first started, especially during COVID, because he had nothing to do. So he'd just sit there every day talking between 5 and 6. He'd do this like wind down, right?
Yep.
Every single one of them had to get deleted because we got a channel strike that suspended our channel for a week. And we're like, that's it, delete all of them because Ramon used to talk so much cock.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, but I wasn't talking cock. But what I said later ran afoul of the rules because they changed them and they don't grandfather you.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He used to talk so much cock, they changed the bloody rules.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden it's like, oh, no, you can't say that anymore. It's like, Ramon, delete him, delete all of them. He's like, you're not going back and checking them? Just delete all of them.
So when my channel that was banned for 23 months and I appealed it the third time came back in February when they gave it back to me at Real Chris Wyatt, the one that used to have 23,000 subscribers, now we're rapidly approaching 20,000 because they keep stealing them. But that channel had 1,875 videos on it when it was restored. And that was after I'd already deleted 43 videos just before they gave me a third strike a month before. But anyway, so the first thing I did is I started taking all my lives from the old days and just, removing them, making them private so that it wouldn't be something. And then I removed, I think, probably about 8 or 10 videos that might have hurt their feelings or sensibilities. And I got 6 videos removed that were strike videos, but I wasn't given a strike. So I will give the new regime at YouTube credit that they at least had the consideration that they found videos that violated their current rules and they removed them but didn't issue me a strike because that was unjust. So I will give them credit for that. But that first week I was like, oh, I'm going to lose my channel again. I'm going to lose my channel again. I'm going to lose my channel again because every day a video was being removed for violating rules. And I was like, these videos didn't.
So are you using that channel now?
Yeah, at Real Chris Wyatt. Yeah, I do. I do my night owls over there, and little spoiler alert, I've got some new kit coming into the studio. It's going to be a little sexy, a little more night owlish when we get going here. Different microphone and some other things happening. So for the night owls, I put that on there, and I put mostly U.S. political stuff on there, and I keep this one for Africa and the world, and I still do some U.S. on this one. But yeah, I don't get much viewership over there.
Well, I was going to get back in the YouTube algorithm.
Yeah, well, it's also hidden by YouTube. They don't tell people. So I mean, but what I have done is that a lot of people who, and this is frustrating with YouTube, when that channel was removed, people thought, oh, I quit YouTube. I didn't quit YouTube. I was removed unjustly, and I appealed it, and they ignored me. So I created this channel right away and started off, and a lot of those people, those 23,000 subscribers, never came over. They don't go looking for you. What do you say,
Charles? We would like to replace any losses you have with 10 times the immigrants we got here from Nigeria and the rest of Africa. You're welcome.
You must be talking about the UK.
Right.
Must be talking about the UK.
Chris, it's our sacrifice. It's our sacrifice, but we're willing to make it, my friend. I know it's going to be hard. Africa is going to suffer, but we'll survive. I know that I heard diversity is our strength, and the diversity will only but improve your country. Yeah. I've been told that's true by the mainstream media. It can't be a lie. They would never lie to us, would they?
No. There's no agenda there. There's none. No, I always thought our strength was innovation and freedom and technology and our moral base. That's kind of what I thought. Diversity, because somebody's different than me, that makes us stronger.
That sounds so racist.
Bullshit.
That sounds so racist. Like, how can you say that?
Sounds white supremacist, white nationalist.
Do you not care about the poor, defenseless boat migrants that are just wanting a better life? Don't you know that all 50 of them in that boat are doctors and lawyers and nurses? Come on, man. Stop being heartless.
I don't care. I don't care. And I will rail against it forever. And people can say what they want, and they can be wrong all day long. That's the nice thing about when you have free speech, although it's being impinged upon on this side of the Atlantic, so and all around the world. But yeah, nope.
Who's going to pour your coffee then, Chris? You're not thinking this one through.
Oh, so
who is going to serve your coffee?
It's funny you should say that. I was doing a master's program with Troy University. It was a distance program 20 years ago, and I did this program with Troy to get a master's in international relations. Anyway. We're doing a class online, and we go into the chat rooms on not chat rooms, but whatever the work rooms. I forget the name of that. Blackboard is the software. Went into Blackboard, and I posted something about illegal immigration, and someone responded and said, "Well, we need illegal immigration. Otherwise, strawberries are going to cost," and they were serious, going to cost like $6 a pint, and who's going to pick our crops? I'm like, okay. Do you not understand the soft bigotry of your statement? That you say it's okay for criminals to invade our country and then be paid a below market wage, undermining wages. That's another story. But a below market wage because they're being taken advantage of by employers because they're illegal and can't say anything about it, so that you can have strawberries for $1.85 a pint. Talk about bigotry. Talk about unbelievably arrogant stuff. Now, I pour my own coffee. I don't drink coffee. I pour my own tea. I mow my own lawn. I cut my own firewood. I pump my own gas at the petrol station. Not in South Africa. They do it. But I do all of that. I don't need illegal aliens to do that. It's like Orania. Don't need labor from other groups to do the work for me. We do it ourselves. It's just the arrogance of people, just too comical. But that was, and so I wrote back the response. I had it somewhere. I printed out. It's in a folder somewhere. I got to find it someday because I showed it to my staff at the Pentagon, and someone wrote on there classic Wyattisms. They love my response because I just eviscerated the person with my response. It's just this is so stupid. Now look, South Africans are a special breed of people. You all spoiled, man. Domestic help for almost no cost. Nannies taking care of your children. People cooking your food and
stop giving away our secrets. People want to come here just now.
That's why all the Brits come down there, because they can't afford that crap in England, so they can get it in the Western Cape.
True story.
Okay.
69,000 South Africans leave these shores every year to go live in Britain. 69,000.
Yeah.
Sure. Big number, eh? 250,000 British moved to the South Africa.
Yep.
What do the Brits know that the South Africans don't? That's all I'm asking.
Well, I know that the Brits pissed me off in 2000. I seriously was looking at a property in Hout Bay. I don't want to go there now, not Hout Bay, but at the time I was looking at a place in Hout Bay, and the Brits had already come there in mass in the late 1990s and jacked the prices up. They were unaffordable. But hey, with the rand headed towards 30 to the dollar, I'm back in that purchase range here soon.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because the Brits are coming here 4-1. For every one South African that goes to Britain, 4 British come down here, and we're all like, "But South Africa is terrible," and the Brits are like, "You've been in Britain lately?" Like, jeez, man.
Well, Trust Your Mandis says, like UK exporting migrants to Rwanda, you may export Mexicans to South Africa. We need more diversity. Now, Trust Your Mandis is making a joke, and so this is not directly. But here's an important point here. Most people in this country around the world, when they talk about our southern border and illegal migration, are thinking about or referring to Mexicans, who only make up 25% of the criminals crossing our border. The Mexicans aren't. the only group. It's Afghans, it's Nigerians, it's Koreans, it's Filipinos, which is silly because we let lots of Filipinos come here. It is people from all over the world.
I made that joke to somebody the other day.
Oh, yeah?
I think there was a lawyer I was talking to. She actually works as an immigration lawyer in the US. And she was telling me about how hard it is to get into the US. She's like, you got to wait this long and you got to fill in this form and that form. And I said to her, can't you just like fly to Mexico and walk through? I heard that's easy. You can just do that. She's like, it's not funny. It's like, I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah, no, and that's true. No, but I mean, Mexican and other Latin Americans. But the point is that everybody and their brother floods across our southern border in an uncontrolled fashion, invading our country and violating our sovereignty on a daily basis, facilitated by a corrupt Biden regime, which for 2 years violated Title 42 of federal code by bringing undocumented aliens, mostly undocumented because they threw away their passports, identification cards along the Rio Grande after they crossed over, so that they could claim that there was somebody else and give fictitious names, fictitious dates of birth, and so on, so they could stay in this country and be leeches on our society rather than being genuine migrants. They're not asylum seekers. They're not refugees. They're bullshit con artists, every single one of them. I don't want to hear anything else. The bottom line is, if you
economic migrants,
if
man.
you are a asylum seeker, you seek refuge in the first safe country you reach, not the 8th country you reach. You apply for asylum at a legitimate border crossing post. You don't get wet crossing the Rio Grande and coming across into Texas or Arizona or California. Well, there's no Rio Grande, but anyway, you don't cross our border illegally at an unauthorized crossing point. That is not immigration. That is not asylum. That is refugee. That is leftist bullshit. And none of those people are welcome. Now, for the 700,000 to 900,000 people who followed our rules, who came here, who had visas, who got jobs, who worked, contributed to society, became part of America, and each and every single year we naturalize nearly 1 million foreign nationals and let them become part of our team and issue them a blue passport. You are most welcome here. Thank you for contributing to our society. The rest of you can get the fuck out.
All right. And with that, we're approaching nearly 2 hours.
Yeah, we should wrap it up. That is really 2 hours.
And then we need to wrap it up.
So we should wrap it up.
So if you have a question you want to ask, now's the time. If you haven't already done so, like, share, subscribe, all that usual bullshit that YouTube tells you that you should do. And you should do it because it does actually help the YouTube bullshit algorithm. Unfortunately, YouTube doesn't really like South African news channels because it's like boring and stuff. So do your bit. Like, share, subscribe, promote it. And if you haven't already done so, like, go join Morning Shot. I mean, come on. You can listen to me and Ramon talk shit every day. I mean, what's better than that? I mean, come on. Go join it. Some great videos on there.
This channel's better than that.
Scams going on in South Africa. ANC this, ANC that. Come on. Morning Shot. Come on, you know you want it.
Nah, go check it out, guys. It's always been a great product. When Ramon was in his room by himself, it was great. When he started doing the morning, pre-recorded things, it was great. When Byron joined, it's great. It's a great platform, and one of the first South African channels I watched. Of course, to be honest, I'll tell you all along. I think the first one I always watched was Ronaldo, because years ago when he was on steroids and buying Audi TTs.
No comments. Us PE boys, we stick together. I'm not dissing my man. Ronaldo.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't subscribe to his channel. It's a bit boring.
Yeah, you're not going to spot. Yeah, that's just because he said he's going to more me. He's not going to more you. That's why. And it's because he's close enough. He can come do it.
Come on, man. I'm not stupid.
If one of my mods could put the link into Morning Shot, I don't know if I put it below this video. I might not have, but if one of them put it there, I'll go back and make sure we put it in after the fact, and it'll stay on this every time we do Braai Brus in the future. I thought it was in there, but maybe it's not. Lori Letson, you were very late. We're 2 hours into it. You're going to have to go back and watch from the beginning, brother. Thanks. And we missed you because yesterday I was talking about your finance minister and her apology for her racist comments on social media in 2008. She apologized for comments she made 15 years ago. But anyway, so Byron, thanks a lot for coming on. Appreciate it. It's always fun to do this. I'll see you in here shortly. Port Elizabeth, Nelson Mandela Bay. I'll be down there, and hopefully we'll have an interesting time. Folks, we'll broadcast on Byron's channel. Do you have a channel? Are
Sorry?
You there? Do you have a channel on YouTube
Yes.
or no? Yes?
Me?
Yeah.
Yes, of course I do.
Okay.
Called Morning Shot.
Can you broadcast morning shot when I'm at your place?
Yes, I can.
Okay, then that'll be morning shot. Okay, I wasn't sure. Okay, so we'll do.
We can do it on yours too. We can do it on both.
We can do
How's
it on
that?
both. Yeah, there we
Dual
go.
channels.
Ooh, there you go.
Mine
anyway,
will have yours.
but
Be like, hi.
I'll be there, and Byron and I will be broadcasting live together. So in the same studio, should be interesting. Anyway, thanks a lot, everybody. Byron, appreciate it, and I'll chat with you in a bit. And once you drop off, I'll wrap it up here, and then I'll straighten everybody out about watching this program. Thanks, man.
Thanks very much.
Cheers.
Take it easy. Cheers.
All right, folks. Byron Shepard. I hope you enjoyed that. I know I did. It was kind of fun. Help get Gate McKenzie on. Yeah, Dave, it'd be great if he could help get Gate McKenzie on my program. I'd love that. It was good on Morning Shot. I agree, Charles. But I've reached out to Gate McKenzie long before Morning Shot reached out to him, and I didn't have any success. There are some reasons behind that. Some folks, they because I'm not in South Africa, they don't see me as a South African media outlet. They just don't want to do it. There's lots of reasons. Anyway, thanks, everybody. Nick Gross, thanks for the 10 members that you added in here. Appreciate it. Thanks for the super chats that came in. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. The 112 likes, the 72 people still here. Thank you very, very much for that. I won't be doing a night out today. I'm certain of that because I have a lot of events going on at the Veterans for Foreign Wars post tonight where I'm the commander, and we've got a lot we've got to settle, so I need to leave early for that. My first meeting is at 5:30. Second meeting is 6:30. Third meeting is at 7:30. I finished about 9:30 tonight. 4 hours of meetings and coordination once a month. Anyway, we give back for veterans. No, I'm not doing the Secret Agent Man on this one, so sorry, guys. But yeah, thanks for hitting it. And John Huchin subscribed to Morning Shot. Cool beans. Good channel. All right, there they go. They gained 1 subscriber from that. You guys are all welcome. Thanks. Look forward to seeing many of you in South Africa when I get there. And hopefully we'll have a good old time. So should be fun. It looks like we might have 2 meet and greets in PE. So you can come to either one. That'll be cool. One at the pub. Sergeant Pepper's, is that what he said? Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club? Is that the one? Is that the pub? And then the other at Tapas, Ronaldo's restaurant. Okay, folks. Catch you all later. Cheers. Be sure to hit the like button and leave a comment behind it. Sound of Freedom, Dave. I haven't watched it. I think that all of the hysteria from the left shows that they're just full of it. I said this, Dave. You must not have been here the last few days. I've been talking about it endlessly on the news. Sound of Freedom. The deal is the comments coming from the media. Oh, it's inaccurate. It's not factually correct. And my response is, it's a frickin' movie. It's a dramatization of someone's life and their experiences. It's not supposed to be true to life. It's not supposed to be factual. It's just supposed to be loosely based on it. Let go of that nonsense. I didn't hear any of this screaming about Jada Pinkett Smith's racist faux documentary on Cleopatra. They didn't rail about that. Netflix fake documentary on Cleopatra in which they present Cleopatra as a black African when in fact she was from the Ptolemaic dynasty and was a Macedonian, a European, a white woman. Now, that doesn't make her better or worse, but that is historically correct. But the black supremacist running Hollywood decided that was, and remember, Barack Obama gets paid $35 million from Netflix, so I wouldn't be surprised if he had something to do with this. So Jada Pinkett Smith is given the green light to make a ludicrous fake documentary about the life of Cleopatra, as if we haven't got plenty of documentaries on Cleopatra already, genuine ones. So the Sound of Freedom is being lied about by leftist media outlets reviewing it, and their feelings are hurt because this crowdfunded, it wasn't entirely crowdfunded, but crowdsourced crowdfunding for this Sound of Freedom movie starring Jim Caviezel, the lead actor from Person of Interest and also from The Passion of Christ. That's why they hate him. He's a Christian. They want to depict it as some kind of LMNOP anonymous nonsense, and they claim that it's factually incorrect. Well, it's a movie. Let go. All right? Simple as that. It was a movie, just a movie, good as it is. Exactly, Val. Black Cleopatra, you mean, Colonel? She wasn't Greek, Charles. She was Macedonian from the Ptolemaic dynasty. There's a difference. You tell the Macedonians they're Greek, that's fighting words, man. Trust me, I know, I've been there. Is Mickey Mouse real? I think so. Only black Africans at that time. We, the Nubians from Sudan. Anyway, there were black pharaohs of Egypt during a period, yes. Yes, when the Cushites and others overran, there definitely were. But that's not Cleopatra. And so why lie? Why steal history so blatantly? It's just a shame. All right, folks, hit the like button. I'm out of here. We're losing audience now. You guys take care. Have a good day. Bye-bye.